Well. Hello, folks. How's it going? Nice to see you. I think there's a few in at the minute. Let me just bring this chat up just to check who's in. Yeah, I've got a few in. Notice, guys, I've got the pleasure of the sharing t-shirt on today because today is the pleasure of the sharing. I've had some beautiful whiskey sent to me. Hopefully, I'm going to share them with you all tonight. Got a special guest in tonight as well. Big Wig from Texas. Whiskey friend is going big. It's gone Texas. Texas Whiskies. Looking at. Got Robert in from Ironroot. I'll bring him in a minute. I think he's sitting in there waiting patiently. I can see him sitting, having a way there, sipping on his whiskey. So let's have I'll do a quick roll call. Then I'll kind of get Robert in and we'll crack on. I noticed Emily was in like 2 days ago. Emily Chambers is telling you all to hit that thumbs up button, guys. I hope you've all done it already. Flying Hussars in. How you doing, Bart? Nice to see you, buddy. Andy Cross is in. So I've got a couple of the local Manchester lads in tonight. Got Renato all the way from Brazil. How you doing, Renato? Nice to see you, buddy. Yeah, of course. There, the Dram Yankees there. How you doing, Jerry? How you keeping me? How did the poker go? Poker all right. Donna Pash, Tim's in. How you doing, Tim? Nice to see you, buddy. I just waking up, working 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Lots much needed snow coming down here. Wow, okay. I don't know if you can hear the weather outside, guys. We've got some rain coming down here as well, so hopefully it doesn't interfere too much. I think they're all asking each other about the teapot. Yeah, the teapot. All these eagle-eyed guys might notice behind me that the new teapot's here. Pete Head's in. How you doing, Frank? Nice to see you, buddy. See how you got on with some of these bourbons. Listen, I don't want you jumping off either because it's bourbon. We might try and sneak, if we've got time, we might sneak some whiskey in later on. So you might have to hang on for the whiskey. But I'm sure there might be a peated bourbon in here somewhere as well. So you might be all right there, Frank. Gav's Drams is in. How you doing, Gav? How's them subs doing, buddy? Heading for that 150 now, yeah? Mark Slinger's in. How you doing, Mark? I think we're pretty much, I think we're up and running here now. Whiskey Wanderers in. Paul M, how you doing, Paul? Nice to see you, mate. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Usual shenanigans tonight. Only going to do a wee bit of bourbon, a wee bit of Texas whiskey. Hopefully it goes all right. I don't make a fool of myself. I'm sure Robert will keep me right. He'll fill us all in with some interesting info. Whiskey malt content. How you doing, Vlad? Nice to see you, mate. Oh, Gav's hit 131. Let's see if we can get Gav up to 150 subs, guys. If you're not sub to Gav's Drams, man, dive over and give him a quick sub. Remind me later on, Gav, when I get a few more in, and I'll probably give you another wee shout out, mate. Yeah? Pete Head. What's Pete Head saying? Saving sounds. May the Pete be with you. Yeah, no problem, mate. Got that. So, let's just check it. So, the plan tonight, guys, of usual chit chat, drink some whiskey. Hopefully, we get a wee bit more interesting content tonight. Find out a wee bit more about Texas whiskies. Find out a wee bit more about Ironroot. Hopefully, that's the plan. Hope it's all right with Robert because he's gave me some real generous samples here tonight. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to share some of this with Robert tonight, and then hopefully I'm going to do a super chat draw tonight, and I'm going to share 5 of these samples with one lucky person in the chat. If you know a bourbon drinker, don't worry, I'll top it up I'll match the 5 with some 5 scotches, so you're going to get a really nice set of whiskies coming your way. So, but there's some real nice Ironroots in here. So, hopefully we'll get diving into these. I think I've caught up with whoever's in. Kieran Satterley's in. How you doing, Kieran? Right. If Robert's ready, then I think we may as well go ahead and bring him in. Give me the thumbs up if you're ready to go, Robert. Okay, look at that. There's a beautiful thumbs up there, my friend. How you keeping?
Doing great. Just enjoying the 75-degree December weather right now.
75, eh? Wow, yeah, man. I think we've got about 7, over here. Gale storms, thunderbolts, all sorts of stuff. Lightning, pissing down the rain, windy, all the usual stuff that we get here in Manchester. I don't know if you're aware of it, Robert, but Manchester's the wettest city in Britain, so we call it a wet city.
Britain's pretty wet, so that's saying something.
Manchester's the wettest. So, Robert, just for all the guys who maybe are not aware of who you are or are not aware of Ironroot, I think there's a few guys in here. I think they're bourbon drinkers, so I think there might be a few here or not. So I don't know if you want to give them a quick rundown who you are, a little bit about Ironroot, and then we'll get cracking.
Sure. All right. So my name's Robert LIKARISH. I'm one of the owners and distillers at Ironroot. We're a small family distillery in Denison, Texas, which is just north of Dallas, is I guess the best way to describe our location. We've been around, I guess we're going on our 8th year right now. So we're still a really young distillery. But we're doing some really fun, different stuff in the American whiskey category. So my brother and so the distillery is my brother, myself, my mom, who's the boss at the distillery. She tries to tell people she's not, but
okay,
she is. My retired father got recruited he got 4 days of retirement and then got dragged in to start working at the distillery. And then our assistant Ashley. And then we've got a couple reps down in Austin, down in South Texas. The Gallaways that help us out from time to time. So again, it's a really small, tight group. We all hands on all parts of the business. Again, we all are distilling. We're all blending. So it's, but my brother is the head distiller and blender technically at the distillery. So he's the engineer of the family.
He make all the final decisions.
Yeah, so he's the one. If you don't like stuff, we can just blame him. Is usually what
does he put your nose out a little bit from time to time? Yeah.
Every once in a while.
I think I met your mum last time. We had a little chat maybe last month. I think your mum was on there, and I think she sat her down and got comfy and got some nice whiskies out. So yeah.
Oh, she's the one that has all the nicest whiskeys too. So.
Well, that's what happens when you're the boss, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're the boss. How you doing, Emily? Thank you very much for giving all that thumbs up. Nice to see you. Right, yeah, these samples, well, you gave me some nice stuff here. I think I've got 3 St. Ali's here. The cognac and port. Would that be the first one to start with?
Yeah, I'd say let's start with the low proof stuff, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, so I think this was that 107 on this one, Robert.
The port and cognac's gonna be 100 proof.
All right, okay, so that's 100. So yeah, okay, no problem. So 100, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had it covered up here for a wee while. It's been sitting here nicely, getting into it. So colour's lovely. Real nice colour.
Yeah. So tell you a little bit about the Saints Alley line just to start out with. So Saints Alley is going to be our blended line. I mean, it's actually bourbon that we make in-house blended with bourbons from other places. This particular one's got some MGP. So it's a blend of 4-year-old whiskey from us with 6-year-old high rye MGP that we then blend together and then put in finishing casks and do different fun finishing casks at the distillery. So this is kind of a brand new thing. It's a collaboration we do with Chris Trevino, who's the liquor hound here on YouTube.
Always find Chris. Chris is my American version of Ralphie.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's been around a long time. He's got a heck of a collection.
I've been watching him for years and years. I've been watching him. He must be doing it over 10 years, man.
Oh yeah, I think he started collecting back in 2002, so he's pretty old school.
Wow, now this is whenever I go to smell bourbons, Robert, the first thing that I get, and please don't get offended, but they always smell pretty much the same. But where this is a little bit different. It's always that caramel and brown sugar and those typical kind of bourbon notes.
What we're starting with here is going to be the more traditional bourbon flavor profile, and we're going to move to kind of the crazier stuff as we go on. As we hit the pure Ironroot whiskeys, that's when things get kind of crazy. But yeah, this is going to be more traditional. Yeah,
I get lots of sweet toffee.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some honey. Then I get that. It's maybe a little bit of apple there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes a little bit darker. So there's a wee bit of dark fruit.
It's where that port starts coming in on the nose. You start getting
maybe some plums,
mm-hmm.
raisin maybe. But yeah, It smells nice. A little bit of chocolate.
Oh yeah.
And dare I say, we've got some mint in here, Robert.
Mm-hmm. And that's coming from that high rye from the MGP bourbon. So that's a 36% rye bourbon. And rye from kind of the Midwest into the northern United States tends to be very herbal in character. Some people will characterize it as spicy, but you can get everything from black licorice to mint through kind of all.
I'll tell you the thing with that chocolate. We have it's like an after 8 mint.
Mm-hmm.
We have a mint here. It's like a chocolatey minty.
Yeah, I think in the US they're the Andes mints. They're really thin, kind of squares.
Yeah, we mint and the chocolate. I don't know why they call them after 8s, but I think you're supposed to eat them after 8 o'clock. But so I don't know how that works. But
not very well for me.
So that MGP. So there's a mix of both. It's your stuff and the MGP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Wow, that's how I like it. Cheers, my friend. Thank you very much. Wow. Spicy.
Mm-hmm.
That bit of cinnamon maybe.
Coming from that European, the French oak on the cognac. Boom.
I think I've had a couple of iron roots before. I think I've had I've had a Harbinger before a couple of years back. And I think I've had a couple of samples here and there. And I tend to find you guys seem to have cinnamon a lot in your stuff.
We do. We tend to use, Texas is so much warmer than other parts of the country that we get a lot of wood extraction very quickly. So we tend to see kind of that cinnamon and clove tend to build pretty quickly, especially when we're going away from American oak, which with Ironroot, about 30% of our barrels are going to be a Slovenian oak, which tends to have more cinnamon and clove and kind of runs on those baking spices.
Yeah. We've got some, again, that raisins, those dark fruits are there, but those raisins, they feel a wee bit booze as if they've been soaked in booze.
Yeah, kind of those Italian cherries.
Yeah, bit of berry fruit, some berry fruit there as well, but there's lots of chocolate, dates, figs.
So, Donner had a question here. So, the special corn varieties like Bloody Butcher, are they too strong to do 100% mash with? It's not that they're too strong. We do vary, especially with Bloody Butcher. We actually go a little bit higher typically with Bloody Butcher now. We'll go all the way up to like 36% of the mash bill. Just from our personal flavor profile, I like having some of that more traditional base from the yellow corn and then kind of using the heirloom corns as those kind of flavoring. Bloody Butcher corn would be easier to do 100% with than most of them. But some of these corns, especially like the flint corns and stuff, you lose so much yield, and then the flavors start going pretty crazy when you start hitting 100%. And then some of them, they don't grow enough even volume of it for us to really produce any significant volume. Not that we're a large distillery to begin with, but to grow some of these, you're talking there may be 15, 20 acres of some of these varietals of corn in the world being grown. So it's we tend to try to use them in smaller amounts, one, so we can stretch out, but also to kind of temper some of the crazier aspects, maybe of the flavor profile.
Do you produce your own corn as well, your own grains as well, Robert?
We do not grow any ourselves. My mom will grow small test batches kind of around the distillery when we're testing out new varietals, and then we'll take it to a local farmer to grow it. So 95% of our grain is grown within 60 miles of the distillery.
Okay. I think Petehead Frank's got a question for you.
So to get the core expression of Ironroot, it's going to be the Harbinger line. So Harbinger 115 is kind of the kind of primary whiskey that we put out there. As far as what's available in Europe, a couple of years ago we did with some younger whiskey, but we did Berry Brothers and Rudd did a blend called Texas Legation. This guy right here. So that's available somewhat around Europe. You can still find it a little bit. It's some younger barrels than what we're typically using now, but still can give you an idea. It's a really, really fun expression. But they just ended up buying a couple more casks this last year. So I think they're going to be releasing some cask strength stuff in the not too distant future. Some just independent bottlings. So again, we're still working up stock so that we can actually really hit the European market. Right now we're in Texas primarily, and then we're limited in a bunch of other states here in the U.S. currently. So we're slowly getting bigger. I think this next year we'll produce about 5 times the amount of whiskey that we produced this year. So we're definitely ramping it up quite a bit.
So is that when you say you're ramping it up 5 times? Is that is the distillery getting bigger? Is more stills getting in, or you just?
It's more storage space, actually.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's where you have to store them, don't you?
Mm-hmm. So we're increasing the storage space. We're doing some upgrades in our chilling system, and so that's what will allow us to really produce about 5 times the amount of whiskey.
Because I'm pretty sure Springbank are only running at half capacity. I think they've got a capacity to double it, but
because we had been producing about 250 barrels a year, and the goal is to ramp it up to around 1,000 to 1,200 and kind of sit right there. One, to allow us to get some more age on spirit, do a lot of kind of fun stuff, and experiment a lot more on the brandy side, on the malt side, and allow us to do a lot more things. So,
well, that was a nice start, Robert. Yeah. That went down the hatch quite nice. That very
not too shabby.
Finish is quite long as well. It's got quite a long finish.
There is, and that's again that cognac tends to really lengthen the finish on the whiskey. Wow. It may not really. Again, you're talking. It's not going to impact flavor quite as much as the port does, but really gives it some length and some depth, which is why I really love using the cognac.
That's got a really nice nose as well. It's lovely. Even when the glass is empty, it's nice. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, well, there's a good start. Wow. Well, hopefully I don't waste through these just as quick as that, So,
it'll be a short evening.
It may be a short stream. But yeah, I think the next one, what we're going to do rum next.
Yeah, we can do rum next.
Yeah, let me get this.
I don't think I got the rum here with me. No.
Just a quick one, guys. While Robert sorted himself out, Whiskey Friend coins have only got 15 left, but have no fears. Batch 3 is on order, so if you've ordered batch 1 and batch 2 coins before, then just drop me a quick email if you want to reserve your numbers again. That'd be great. Keep your collections going. If you're new and you don't have any, I've got a few of the batch 2s left. That's my quick plug going. Plug's over. Let's dive into some of this rum.
All right, so this one, so Ironroot, we're in Denison, Texas. It's actually sister cities with cognac. And my brother and I were actually trained by cognac distillers. So our kind of approach to whiskey distillation and maturation is kind of a hybridization of French methodology. We've taken a lot of those traditional French, again, élevage and some of the techniques that they use, and we've kind of adapted it for the Texas environment because obviously it's super different here to age things in Texas.
This is where I wish I spoke French.
No, yeah, it's I work on it a little bit. So I've had the opportunity to go to cognac and distill over there. So a lot of it, especially these first kind of rounds of finishes, are all going to have some French influence to what we're doing. So this one is actually an agricole rum. So it's from French. So it's a French, again, island that's actually giving us the barrels. I can't, due to all the fun NDA stuff, can't say the exact distillery and stuff that the barrels came from, but it is an agricole style rum. So you're going to have, it's not a molasses based rum. So it's going to be less sweet than a molasses based rum. It's going to be a little bit more herbaceous because you still have some of the cane particulate in the fermentation and distillation process. So it's a little bit more herbal.
A little bit treacly. We have, I don't know if it treacles molasses. It's a wee bit treacly here.
Mm-hmm.
This one. Smells darker than the first one. So there's maybe some dark toffee, dark treacle.
It is, especially this one's moved up in proof a little bit. We're at 107 now.
Okay, wow. Getting dangerous now. Getting into these dangerous drams. A little bit of salty caramel, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But the feel of this one, I don't know if is there such a thing as Ironroot funk? A wee bit funkier.
Yeah, the funk though, you're not going to see. Well, you'll see the Ironroot funk a little bit later on. The funk is actually the rum funk. So this is actually rum.
Right, okay.
Ester profile. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, we'll get into that.
Yeah, it's a little bit grassy and a little bit outdoor for me. This one.
That's the again that agricole rum.
Maybe it's a little bit orange. I think there's orange, maybe an orange citrus, maybe in there. Somewhere.
Yeah, like an orange oil almost to it.
Wow, nice. Well, you know where this goes, guys. This is heading straight down the hatch. Cheers, Robert. So you've got your wow, that's nice. Juicy, syrupy, mouth coating. I think initially it was a little bit dry when I first sipped it, and then it became really mouth watering very, very quickly. Wow, spicy, oily. Wow, that stopped me. I forgot what I was going to ask you there, man. Yeah. So what's the makeup of this, Robert? How much of your stuff's in this?
So this one's going to be this is batch one. So this one's about 10% Ironroot, 90% of the MGP. So really, what the goal on the blend for this is, we're using because everything that we do is pot still distillation, which is again basically the opposite of everything that they're doing in Kentucky, which is all column still distillate.
Is that column still?
It is definitely column still. Oh yeah. So you're talking MGP. Most of the big guys, what they're focused on is that column still distillate. So what we're using the pot still for, because again, we've got downward angle for that line arm. We create big, heavy, oily, very viscous style whiskey. And so we're just using that to kind of lengthen the finish of that MGP and really just give it a richer body to it, is really what we're looking for out of our whiskey in this particular blend.
Oh, nice. Wow. Again, it's that salty caramels again there. It's again, it's spicy. Cinnamon's there again, but it's a little bit hotter. I know it's 107 this time. It's a little bit hotter. This is a little bit nutty as well. So maybe some roasted nuts, maybe some toasted nuts.
Right. And that could be some of that bloody butcher corn kind of sneaking through.
Wow.
It tends to be very fruity and very nutty.
Wow. Nice. Again, the chocolate's there. The dark chocolate's there again. Let's do a little bit. It's lovely and sweet. And even at that 107 proof, it's so easy to sip, man. Wow. So easy. A little bit of leather again. Wow. Oh, it is. I think I'm going to whiz through these, Robert. I can see myself whizzing right through these.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic.
Wow. Oh, thank you very much, mate. I hope you don't mind me giving some of these away.
No, please. Hey, whiskey's for sharing.
So sharing some of these guys, got the sharing t-shirt on. I think I might have missed a super chat here somewhere. I missed a super chat somewhere. Have a look. I might have missed it. Yeah, I think Emily said that she's famous now because I think your mum friended her.
My mom won't even friend me half the time. So.
Oh wow.
Man, she's pretty strict on that. So.
Wow. Yeah, I think I'm sure I missed the chat there, but I can't find it. But cheers to whoever's super chatted, but I'll catch it back in the replay. Wow. Got a few more in. James Morgan's in. How you doing, James? Richie Z, how you doing, Richie? Nice to see you, brother. James, your package went in the mail today, mate, so you should be getting that soon. Jim Masterson, will any of the Grayson release make it to Total Wine? Is that aimed at you, Robert?
I have no idea.
Grayson, what's the Grayson release?
Oh, Grayson, yeah. So Grayson is a blend that we put together for another group. So it's something that we kind of independently bottle. That's a blend of our whiskey, of Balcones, and then another Texas distillery called Lone Elm. So it's two bourbons. So bourbons from us and Balcones, and then we blend in a wheat whiskey from Lone Elm. So it's a blended bourbon technically. That's a lot of fun. This second batch is very earthy, chocolatey, kind of rich on that end. And then batch 2 that's going to be coming out next year is going to be really, really fun because they're actually adding in Still Austin, which is actually some calm still bourbon. So again, it's going to be some really, really fun blending going on at the distillery here pretty soon. But it's not technically our product. It's a product we blend and help make for someone else.
Oh, okay. That super chat. I just found that super chat. Oh, it's all the way from Brazil, eh? Skull from Brazil. Thank you very much, Renato. Cheers, mate. I'll just finish this. Rum-finished Ironroot. St. Sally. So St. Sally, where's the name come from, Robert?
So our second barrel warehouse is actually just off Main Street in Denison. And the alley that runs behind it's called Saints Alley. They name all the alleys. So it's because there's all the churches around it. So it's basically all the churches down an alley, and then it's going to be our barrel warehouse. So
nice. Yeah. Let's just check. I think there's a few more popped in. DJ Beacon's popped tonight. Some of the American guys are arriving now, Robert. So
all right.
Richie Z, Whiskey Street Al's in all the way from Ireland. How you doing, Northern Ireland? How you doing, Al? Just missed a couple, Al, but I've got a few more to catch up on. Got one here for Donna Pass again. This might be. We have a Mendocino County winery that bought an old Alabamic pot still from France 30 years ago. They have 130-year-old French Colombard vines, make amazing brandy. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to search them out.
Any brandy in your stuff, Robert?
There is. So we've been making brandy since the very beginning. The first couple of years, we actually did it with a Chenin Blanc, and then the winery ended up tearing up those vines and planting Tempranillo. So we actually are working with a different vineyard now, about 5 miles from us, that has 4-year-old Riesling grapes, and we will do a very early harvest on it in like July. It's big, giant, like 80-acre vineyard, and that has turned out some really amazing brandies. So again, the oldest stuff right now is about 7. I think we won't start releasing any brandies till they hit like between 10 to 12 years old, though.
Wow. Okay.
Fortunately, the brandy rolls allow us to be much more delicate and gentle with our aging. So we've been having a lot of fun with it.
So that's what it's all about, isn't it? You want as much fun as you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Another super chat there. Even you guys have been so lucky so far. Yeah, no, I think this is in these super chat draws that I've done, Robert. I think James has won a couple of them.
Oh, all right.
So I think he's diving in and filling his boots, hoping he's getting another one.
There we go.
Cheers, James. I'm going to have a wee sip of water to you, mate, because I'm going to get ready for this third one. I think we're moving on to maybe Armagnac. Armagnac, is that the one?
Yes. This is a really fun one.
I think this sounds like this is your favourite one. Is this your favourite one?
Of these 3, I go back and forth between the port and the cognac to the Armagnac. Armagnac is kind of near and dear to my heart. It's one of the first spirits I legitimately fell in love with. And so, and again, I've gotten the fortunate ability to have gone down there and distilled with them, which was a complete blast. But Armagnac is, again, it's a little bit more rustic of a spirit than cognac. So it's going to be way more oak forward. They actually age it. A lot of it's actually aged in Gascon black oak. which obviously is very, very different flavor profile. So this guy's darker, heavier. This is a way more brooding version of this line. So especially when it's cold outside, it tends to be my favorite of the bunch.
Wow. This is a bit dusty now as well, this one.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Nice. It doesn't smell. Is it this starting to smell more like a Texas whiskey would smell like rather than just a normal kind of.
Oh yeah, the oak is big and rich and heavy.
Woody.
Oh yeah.
Wow, this is nice. I had a wee quick dabble with him earlier, and I'm looking forward to get that. Icarus is a bit crazy, isn't it? So I'll that one later on. So that's the one that stumped me the most. I think is the Icarus one. That's just mental, but
it is. That's an extremely mental whiskey.
Yeah, so we'll come to that later. But this is nice. Again, those brown sugars, caramels, some berry, picking up some berry fruit again in this one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Wow. But it is definitely going a bit dustier. It smells a bit drier and dustier, and wow. And there's a nice floral note on the back there somewhere as well. A little bit floral. Not too sure where that's coming from. Mm-hmm. So how old's this one then?
So the whiskeys, they were 4-year-old and 6-year-old when they went into cask, and they were in cask for about between 6 to 9 months. I think the Armagnac was at 9 months. So this is the in cask the longest out of all those.
Did I read somewhere that you water them in casks?
We do. So that's part of that kind of French technique that we use called élevage. So typically the French and Cognac, they'll pull the spirit out of barrel, they'll evaluate it. They may water it down, they'll blend it with the whole vintage, and they'll recask it. They may move older barrels. There's a couple things that they do. One of the things that we do is we like to bring in oak earlier. So a lot of the kind of new movement in the U.S. whiskey market is lower entry proof and letting it start out again that 100 proof, let it pull a lot more of those wood sugars early on. For us, we actually go in closer to 125 and let it sit for that kind of first year and a half at that higher proof to pull a lot more tannin early on. And then we will crash it, the proof in cask, and we'll bring it down again anywhere between 110 to 125. Some barrels we'll leave alone again because we're tasting them every 3 to 4 months and making adjustments based on that. So some will slowly dilute and bring them back down to again closer to 115. Some, especially ones that we want to have for add structure to blends that kind of have that rich heaviness, will allow to kind of rise up in proof. That way, when we go to blend, we've got a variety of stuff from low proof to high proof, all kind of pushed in different directions.
Any thoughts of maybe a cast strength one, barrel proof one, something like that?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of that. The tri barrel we just released is actually cast strength. So I don't know if I didn't see the list of everything that Jerry sent you, but so yeah, there's some that we do that are
75 feet. I've got these three. I've got the 3 Saints Alleys.
Okay.
And I have the Harbinger and I have the Icarus.
Okay, so yeah, there is a cast strength Harbinger. That's actually this guy. So the most recent one.
I think I might have had that. Did you do that a couple of years ago?
You may have had. This has only been the second release of this one. So
yeah, no, I think Jason at the Mash and Drum sent me one, and I think that was.
He had his own private pick. Yeah, he did his own. The YouTubers did a pick that was a cast strength of Bloody Butcher Corn that was phenomenal. That one was right about 130 as well. Memory serves in that one.
132, I think, maybe something like that. I think it was, but yeah, it was nice. Well, let's taste this Armagnac.
All right. I
think Chris likes his Armagnac, didn't he?
Oh gosh, yeah, that's one of the things we bonded on early on was that love of brandies, love of Armagnac. And Armagnac's a much lesser known category.
Are these at the 107 as well, Robert?
This is at 107 as well. This one, again, you can feel the oak way more on this one. Yeah. Wow. This one's a little spicier than the other two.
Wow, spicy, man. But it's got a fantastic mouthfeel. I take it it's non-chill filtered and all that stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't do any chill filtration for any of our products. Even the 90 proof Harbinger that we don't do any chill filtration. It's all achieved through slow reduction. And again, I think sometimes occasionally you can see a slight haze on it, but it's really even at 90 proof, we're pretty much able to get it clear.
Although the rum one is 107 as well, I think this seems to have a wee bit more kick going with this one.
Yeah, and that's that black oak. The black oak is just beautiful. I know I've been trying to convince some of the American coopers to start using or trying to test out black oak from the US, and they're extremely resistant to doing it. So
this is one of these that surprises you when you sip it. It's nice and smooth and oily and creamy, and then after that split second, it comes back with a punch.
Oh yeah.
No spices. Wow. Bit peppery. Cinnamon again. Wow, these are nice, man. It tastes nice. This is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's quite luxurious. Velvety and syrupy and thick. Really, the viscosity is lovely, man.
Thank you very much. Oh yeah, that's again the beauty of that brandy finish. You're going to add that to it, but also that pot still bourbon that we make adds just a ton of viscosity, especially when you taste Harbinger. You're going to be able to feel it, or Icarus as well. You're going to be able to feel that kind of weight of those spirits.
Yeah. Cheers, Robert. Thank you very much for the super chat. I think that's Robert. Andy. Cheers, Andy. I think Andy was one of the lads that met you earlier, Robert, when you were in last month. We caught up with you last month. He's one of the Manchester boys.
How's it going, Andy?
Glad to caught you again. Well, thank you very much for that super chat, Andy. Got a load of local guys in at the minute. Can't get rid of that riffraff. Loads of riffraff, Robert.
Oh, yeah.
Boy. Wow, no, it's... I'm trying to think whether out of those three, whether I have a favourite or not. And I think you're right. You probably could, on different days, have different favourites. So I think if you're looking for something with a wee bit of kick and a wee bit of punch and a wee bit of spiciness, then you'd be all over this.
Yeah.
You maybe just wanted to start the night maybe and get off to something nice and simple, then you'd go with the cognac and port. I've never really been a fan of rum and whiskies. I don't think it tends to do much to Scotch. I've had a couple of rum ones. I've had the Glen Scotia Festival bottle, which was a rum finish. Some of the guys loved that one. It was my favourite. I tend to like the Tawny Port one. That was a belter. Ruby Port was nice. So I think Glen Scotia is nice with the ports. I bought a Talisker 8 rum finish, and it was the most expensive Talisker I think I've bought for a long time, and I don't think the rum done anything to it. So
that's unfortunate.
Blending's fantastic, my friend.
Hey, thank you very much. And that's
I think this Jonathan that blended all this, yeah.
That's right. Jonathan and Chris are the ones responsible for that one.
I think you did say if I didn't like it, you could blame Jonathan, but yeah, no, these are lovely, mate. I mean, when he sort of what's the bottle can output it is, what have you done of these? What are the numbers?
How many bottles are we doing this?
Yeah.
So this again, Luna was asking me about hitting Europe. So probably Saints Alley is probably more like it's going to be earlier to hit Europe than the 100% Ironroot product. Just for this, I think we launched this in October, and it's already the same amount of cases that we do of Ironroot in a given year, as far as like how fast this has grown, and I don't think this has really just exploded, this particular brand. So I think the Saints Alley stuff, I think Ironroot's still about 3 years away from Europe. other than independent bottlings, obviously. But Saint Sally, again, you could see it in 18 months, 2 years, something like that.
Oh, it's nice. Lovely. Let's have another quick sip of this, and then I'll.
Leo is asking if we'll ever see the flat bottles again, which what he's referring to is these bottles right here. So this was our original bottle shape.
I think I've got an Angel's Envy bottle like that, I think. Similar to that, isn't it?
Not anytime soon, Leo, is the answer to that. These bottles were made over in China, and when COVID hit, this factory shut down that was making these, and then they were telling us it was going to be 18 to 24 months to get them produced again. So and then they wanted to triple the minimum order that we were doing. So it became not very practical for us to do it. And then they were upping the price to, again, $6 just for the bottle, which is, if you know, buying bottles is pretty insane. So in order to try to keep our prices, again, reasonable with everything, because I think one of my biggest things, I'm very price conscious of everything we do. And so I want to make sure that even as some stuff has forced us to increase prices slightly this year, I don't want to start seeing $120 bottles of Ironroot on the shelf. Like, my goal is to keep everything sub $70.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough, man. Then when that money talks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it.
I think you send a few cases to the UK, Robert. You'd probably charge anything you wanted from me, I think.
No, I wouldn't do that to you guys.
No, but some of the big distilleries here, I think we're finding with the Scottish distilleries. I think, I don't know if it's happening in America with the secondary market and all that. I think it's just getting crazy. I think we talked earlier about Glengoyne. Glengoyne's one where the prices seem to have kind of went up and up and up and up. Springbank seem to be able to hold it, that cash strength at £60. I think they're great money. They're 18-year-olds, the 21-year-olds are still relatively good money. I think the problem with Springbank is trying to get a hold of them. It's probably the same in America for Ironroot. I think because there's such small numbers of it, then it's as your fame grows, or Ironroot's fame grows, I think it's going to become more in demand. And whether people fight to get them, whether the shopkeepers just start ripping people off. And
yeah, to me, that's the frustrating part. Is I have seen some independent stores here in Texas jump it to like $90 a bottle and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be $60. And that to me is more frustrating.
Stopping that? Can you just stop them as a supplier?
I can't, because I'm not the ones who determined to sell it to them. So that's, right. And I can talk to my distributor, but again, they generally don't care what I have to say. So.
Okay. So I think the distributor's probably getting his end as well, isn't he?
Yeah. As long as they get their money, they don't really care too much. They make the big stores happy, and other than that, they're just kind of whatever. The
Malt Monk's in, Robert. He's giving you a big thanks for his. Obviously, I think he's got a bottle. He was going to swap the Kilhoman and Madeira with you. Remember?
Oh,
remember a little chat we had. He's in. He's waiting. Your bottle's waiting for you.
Oh. Yeah, he's got a bottle of cask strength coming to him. He's actually got one of the cask strength bottles.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. He's thanks. I think he's signed it. Look, I think Jerry's told him he's signed it and everything. So he's chuffed for that, man. Very good. He's still not sent me any of that Madeira yet, yo. He did promise me some of that Madeira. I think I met up with him today as well, and he gave me any of it. I forgot all about that. I need to pull him up on that one, I think. A couple more in. Whiskey Shits is in. AJ Lopez is in. How you doing, guys?
Hey, AJ, how's it going, man? Hey, that's another Texan right there.
Texan. Why can you tell? Has he got a cowboy hat or something on?
Oh, no, he's been to the Distillery a bunch.
Thank you.
He works for a really great brewery right now.
Wow, no, that's visits. So do you have a visitor center and all that, and everything, tours and all that? Job?
I mean, it's again, as much as we can. We do have a room that's kind of in front of all the distilling equipment. That's where you can come in, taste everything, buy bottles. But anyone who comes is welcome to come in and actually walk through the distillery, see all the stills, go see the barrel room. And if you come visit me and you give me either heads up or that you're coming, or you show up when we're not super busy, generally I'll take someone back and we'll taste stuff out of cask and have some fun.
Wow. Okay. Super duper. Let's catch up with this, see what I'm missing here. Some of these, got a few new guys in. Ransu's in. What a great hobby. Wow, okay. Don't know if he's talking about me or you. I think we've both got a great hobby, Robert, eh? Let's have a look. Yeah, Mr. Whiskey Shits. What a name that is, eh? Hold on. Hope I'm saying that right, man. Hopefully, after drinking all these Ironroots, I don't have them later on. So, I think I missed that. Was I that far behind with that chat? I think you've got Luna. You've covered Luna asking about Ironroot in Europe, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think I must be miles behind here, man. I'm miles behind. I feel like Food Quig here, man. I'm miles behind in the chat. Was through a wee minute. Okay. Let's have a look. Who's in? Andy, Bart, Tim, Jerry, Mark, whoever else have I missed? Yeah, you think you've missed them all, man. You need to sort me out with some of that Madeira. Kilholman, I think. I met up with him today, man, and he gave me some samples, and I just remembered that he should have gave me one of them Madeira, shouldn't he?
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
You were drinking too much Ironroot, and that's it happens to us all.
I know. Molasses is in. How you doing, Mike? Mike's in St. Louis. Hope you're all right over there in St. Louis, Mike.
I love St. Louis. I went to law school there. Spent many years in St. Louis.
You're a lawyer, aren't you?
Well, that's a very strong word. I graduated from law school, but I've never practiced law. So.
That'd be a great handle, that, the whiskey lawyer, man. What a handle that would be, eh?
Yeah, I graduated from St. Louis and then immediately went and started working at distilleries.
Yeah. Alistair Gray's in. How you doing, Alistair? Nice to see you, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. I've probably that far behind. Half of these have probably come and gone by the time I get to them, but let me see if I can whiz through a bit. Shanna Gray, that looks like a new name. How you doing, Shanna? Leo Chav. That's interesting. Thanks for the explanation. You must have explained something that was... let's see if I can try and catch up here, man. I feel like watching Food Quig, man. He's miles behind in the chat. I think I've caught up now. Not much Ironroot here in St. Louis. Nudge, nudge.
Only Total Wine in St. Louis gets it occasionally.
Yeah.
So that's always the struggle, though. Of course, they haven't gotten Saints Alley yet, but they should be getting Saints Alley, I think, February. They're supposed to be putting all the Saints Alley stuff in St. Louis as well. And I should be actually back in St. Louis here in a few months for the American Distilling Institute conferences there this year. So,
sure you can meet up with Mike. Sure, Mike.
Back to the old stomping grounds.
Yeah. I've got some Harbinger here now, Robert.
All right, let's do it.
We're up to where we're doing 115 now, yeah. Is this right? 40 months, this one?
14 months, that would be correct.
That's an older Harbinger, isn't it?
So yeah, so we always were doing blends of, well, actually, if you have 40 months, actually, that's what you have is not the regular Harbinger 115. You actually have the summer solstice, summer tri-barrel. So you actually have a wheated Harbinger in front of you right now, which is the only wheated one that we've ever done. So typically Harbinger is a blend of on the younger side 32 to 36 months. It'll vary from batch to batch, and then blended with kind of 4 to 4.5 year old whiskeys typically, and it's made up of, it features a lot of our heirloom corn. So we have 4 core mash bills that we do. 3 of them are 100% corn. One of them is going to feature bloody butcher corn. Another one features a purple corn. It's actually a Peruvian corn. And then the last one features a flint corn. of those 3 corns, and then we've got one that's a low rye mash bill. And so Harbinger is more generally that purple corn and that bloody butcher corn, very, very heavy on those two. And then the 115 uses quite a bit of European oak in the blend as well. So
this is so sweet as well.
Yeah, that's the standard one. The one you have is every year we do experimental runs, and so that was the
So
year.
am I guinea pig tonight, Robert? Am I guinea pig in here tonight?
Yeah, you are guinea pigging. So this is the
color's
first
wonderful and all, and the color's awesome.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah,
awesome.
So those are it was 3 barrels that were 40 months old. They you have 2 that the flavoring grain in it was caramel malted wheat, so it was a roasted wheat, and then the last one was actually a ancient wheat called farro. That's a blend of einkorn, spelt, and emmer.
Nice. I've got Kilco Whiskies saying that he's heard that bloody butcher corn is very expensive.
Yeah, it tends to be it tends to be about twice as expensive as of non-GMO yellow versus GMO yellow. It's going to be generally about 4 times as expensive to use. So it is not a cheap corn by any means. It's not the most expensive corn we've used. We've actually had one corn that maybe grew that because when we get farmers to grow these heirloom corns, we pay them by the acreage. We don't pay them by the yield. So because again, a lot of this stuff hasn't been grown commercially in this area ever or in the last 50 years. And so they can't get insurance on the crops or anything like that. So we guarantee them a payment for that land, and whatever they grow, we get, and it doesn't matter. And so one year we grew some green Oaxacan corn, and a windstorm came and blew a significant amount of that field down, and we ended up paying about $11 a pound for corn, that particular corn, which was generally yellow corn goes for about 25 to 30 cents a pound. So it's a very, very expensive whiskey that one made, but
well, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
looking after the farmers, aren't they? Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones who take care of us, so you've got to make sure you take care of it. I mean, for me, that's one thing I'm really passionate about is maintaining local agriculture. And the farmers have really embraced growing these different grains and kind of really rotating and changing up what they had been doing. And so to support that, that's one of the reasons why we do that.
What about the casks? What do you do with the casks? Where did the casks come from?
So the casks for this are all going to be independent stave. So they're going to be these. There was 2 that were 53-gallon barrels and one that was a 63-gallon barrel. It's actually one of the very first 63-gallon barrels we ever found. So 63 gallons can be about 240 liter. So it's larger than the standard bourbon cask, which is this year was our first year filling exclusively 240 liter barrels. One of the things that we found over the years that we like to give the whiskey a little bit more room to age, and to actually do that using a little bit larger cask has been extremely helpful in that.
I think the opposite here, isn't it? I think to mature them quicker, they put them in smaller casks here, don't they?
Yeah, and a lot of distillers do that. Texas is just so insane with the heat that to me, small cask is so difficult to manage. And one of the reasons why I like doing the large cask.
Yeah. Well, I think with the bigger ones, obviously, there's more contact with bigger wood as well, isn't there? The smaller ones tend to go quick and age quick. You want it to age quick, don't you? Yours ages quick anyway.
I know, and that's always a difficult way because in some ways they do age faster, they mature faster in some ways, and other ways they don't. And so, one, you can create a really unique profile just because the way the maturation goes with smaller casks, but you can overdo it really easily. Luna was asking corn prices compared to barley. Barley prices generally are going to be anywhere from, again, at least the size that we are. For bigger distilleries, this could be cheaper, but typically around 79 cents up to $1.18, $1.20, depending on, again, whether it's 2-row, 6-row, the varietal, and then what type of malting has been done to it, whether it's been roasted malts or just regular malts. So,
wow. Okay, cool. Harbinger. I tell you what, they all smell lovely, man. And, what I'm saying as well, because I'm not the biggest, not the most experienced with bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years I've been drinking bourbon, and every time I go to, no matter what bourbon it is, I seem to get the same sort of things. Where a company likes to test Texas stuff, then I think it comes across different with Texas. So that must be some same regional stuff we hear in Scotland. So you maybe have your Highland and your Speyside. Does the same sort of thing work with?
So yes, your regionality is definitely a thing in the U.S. Texas is such a warm climate.
I've got a quick question for you.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Are you trying to create a Springbank funk?
That is one of the things that I love. Again, I love big giant fan of Springbank, and I think having unique ester profile and unique funk to your whiskey, very unique house style for me is really. What gets me excited about different distilleries is when they have that house style that's identifiable, that's unique. Yeah. I really, really love that. So that's definitely something that's always on our mind of wanting to influence.
Is it an Ironroot characteristic?
Yeah, so some of it is, some of it's going to be weather, some of it's again that Texas funk that we were talking about earlier, from again that heavier, more aggressive maturation climate. The other part of this is really the pot still. Historically, again, we're talking bourbon's really made on column stills, and so you're starting to see again like Balcones and us and Garrison, some of these Texas distillers actually use pot stills in order to make the bourbon, which creates a way more grain forward spirit than what you're going to get out of a column still. Number one. Number two, you're going to get a heavier oil profile. You have distilleries like us that you actually use very low levels of char in our barrels. So the vast majority of our barrels are char 1 with some sort of toast profile, where the guys in Kentucky typically using char 3, char 4, which is going to strip a little bit more of that oily character out of the whiskey. So the pot still, the shape of those pots, I think really does impact a lot of the Texas whiskeys to be very, very different. Now, there are column still Texas whiskeys coming, and they are far more traditional than what you've seen from us and Balcones and some of the other ones that have come out earlier on. But to me, that's one of the things that makes what we're doing really special is that pot still adds such a unique character that's so different than what they have coming out of Kentucky. Because look, Kentucky guys, Indiana, Tennessee are doing amazing work. They're doing amazing jobs with those column stills. But we wanted to be something different. And I think that's, to me, we wanted Texas whiskey to be something different than just, again, a slightly oakier version of Kentucky bourbon. And that's, to me, I think that defining that regionality has been really special for us, again, with all these kind of older Texas whiskey distilleries.
Wow. I think Silver Lock's got one for you. Is the per pound for corn on the cob, or is it without on the cob?
It's off the cob. just the kernel.
Right. Sorry. I think you've got it. I think you spotted it. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Actually, a bit crazy to make whiskey from such expensive corn.
No one's ever accused me of being the most smart business person.
But the whiskey, it's not just the crazy person doing it. It's turning into a crazy whiskey as well. So it's fine. Orkney Funk here, HP, full volume, yum. Okay, no, there's a lot of people like the funk, man. Speyside. See, there's a Speyside on the Speyside funk. Ben Romack, cast strength. Luna's on the Orkney funk, Highland Park. So yeah, I think Campbelltown funk takes some beating. Robert, what do you think?
I do. I tell you, the first distillery I ever visited was Highland Park. So yeah, I made my way all the way up to Orkney before I visited a distillery in my life.
Oh, you must have passed about hundreds to get there.
Yeah, I know. But hey, you taking the boat across was an adventure I don't think I'll ever forget. Oh man, yeah, we had some pretty rough waves that day.
Just a quick one for the guys that's come late. I've got a super chat in. Robert's very generously sent his 5 Ironroots. Well, 2 Ironroots and 1 Saint's Alley, 3 Saint's Alleys. I'm going to pop them into your little package. As I say, if you're not a bourbon fan, then I'll match them with 5 scotches. So there's quite a nice package going there. All you've got to do is drop a super chat, guys. Any amount. There's no limit. You can put as much as you like or as little as you like. Let's get yourself in the draw. I've got James Morgan's won probably the last 2, I think. So he's in with a shout here again. So I need some more names into this hat to give James a run for his money. Sorry, James. Okay. Let's have a look. We love the funk. Who's that? Leo Chav loves the funk. Where are you from, Leo? He's been in a few times before, but I've never really had a chat with him. Ben Romack. Have you tried any of the Ben Romacks, Robert?
I haven't really. I've had a couple, but I can't say I've had any in the last couple of years.
Got a few up here.
Yeah, I noticed.
Got a few up here. There is word that could be the, what's the word I'm looking for? The Speyside Springbank. It's got the capabilities to be the Springbank of Speyside. But again, it's small numbers, small output. 250,000 litres, I think, max. Small operation. I think there's 3 people work there. How many people work at your place, Robert?
Technically 5.
5. So yeah, that's similar to Ben Romac's 3 or 4, I think. So it's might even be a little bit smaller. Let's have a look. I missed something else there. I think I missed another super chat there. Well, in there, Gerhard. Gerhard's over there in Belgium. Guys, Gerhard's got a fantastic channel. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Go over and give him a sub. Just put a wee note on it. Tell him Alan sent you. Let him know you love him. Cheers again, Gerhard. Going to have a wee sip of this Harbinger. Super sweet, this one again, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Super sweet.
When you're talking, because you're talking, this is 97% corn that you're dealing with on this one.
Wowee. But again, it's still got that Texas note.
Mm-hmm.
All your other stuff's in there, but it seems, your brown sugars and your caramels, and they're not as prominent as some of the other bourbons that I've done. Some of the Knob Creeks and some of your generalized bourbons that I get, or state bourbons or whatever. These are all in here, but there's more around. They seem a wee bit more complex, if that's maybe the word.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I tell you, let's not get the complex word out too soon, man. Just wait till we get to Icarus.
Oh yeah.
Then we'll talk complex, man.
Oh man. But yeah, no, again, I sing the praise of pot still distillation. And what's been really interesting is I think kind of the first 4 or 5 years of our existence, there was giant resistance to that here in the US. It was sacrilege to produce bourbon on pot still because of that grain, because of the funkiness, because again, expressing those ester profiles completely differently than what that column still will do. And slowly but surely we started chipping away and talking to people about why this is different and why it's supposed to be different. Because again, when you're expecting a traditional bourbon and you taste this, it's not at all the same thing. Like
a lot of the Irish are pot still, aren't they? But this doesn't taste very Irish. This.
No, we do make an Irish style pot still, but that's gonna be all on that barley side of the life.
So different. Leo's actually in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texas and Arizona.
There we go.
Wow. I think you're bringing a few Texas lads with you today, Robert.
I'm trying.
Yeah, Robert, speak about the Irish. I must be behind here, man. Jerry's actually speaking of the Irish style whiskey, man.
So there in my hometown, there's an Irish pub here that's fairly well known. They've been awarded a bunch of stuff from the Irish Whiskey Association just because of what they do with Irish.
That's the best Irish whiskey pub in the world, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was again crazy to see that in a small town.
Can I just tell you something?
Hmm?
Every city in the world has one of them.
No, it's true.
the best
not
Irish
Denison.
bar in the
Denison
world.
does not have but they do some really amazing things. But they talked us into making an Irish style whiskey for them. And initially they wanted something like Jameson, and my brother refused. He's like, no, I'm not making Jameson.
Well done.
We don't need
a
more
nice
of that
move.
in the world. Like, there's already plenty. And so they kept begging. He's like, I will make an Irish style, but the Irish style that I really truly respect is that old traditional pot still, which again, I mean, for us is triple distilled. So it's we only do 2 whiskeys triple distilled, the light whiskey that we make, and then this Irish pot still. And then it's going to be 60% Texas unmalted barley and 40% Irish malt. So,
wow. Nice. Anyone try the MB Roland Craft Distillery from Kentucky? Their white corn mash bill is what I imagine Ironroot to be like.
It could be. They have, again, the still style's a little bit different and yeast profile, but in the oak, again, we use quite a bit of European oak, but as far as kind of that more corn grain forward style, it's going to be more along that line for sure. Now they do some crazy stuff like their dark fire and things like that are way different than what we do, but they're doing some really fun, really different stuff at MB Roland, for sure.
But looking through those, a lot of the craft distilleries that I think you need to be a little bit crazy, don't you?
I do. I think that if you're just if you're playing it safe, obviously that's all fine and
who's
good.
a little bit crazy. I tell you who I like watching, the smoke wagon guy.
Yeah.
Aaron Kaepernick. He's a wee bit crazy, isn't he?
He's a little bit off his rocker, and again, he's doing some really fun stuff with that MGP.
He's crackers, man.
Yeah.
Jerry's just sent me a smoke wagon Halloween batch. I think I've just seen on Instagram he's done a Christmas one. They're doing a lot of themed ones, and I think he's single-handedly, I think he's doing it on his own. He's blending it on his own, and I think he's doing everything, but he's massive on Instagram. He keeps popping up every day on Instagram, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's got different T-shirts on and different hats on and big cigars and his cowboy boots. And, I tried to buy a couple of their T-shirts, right? The T-shirts were about £15 or £20 each, right? I thought, I'll have a couple of them. £85 to ship them.
Oh, God.
I thought, you're kidding me on. I could have bought 6 T-shirts that would probably cost me more to ship them here. I think we've got another super chat. Great to see you chatting with Robert. Thank you very much, Doug. How you doing, buddy? Thank you very much. I'm going to have a wee sip of this 115 Harbinger. I think I've been sipping on this already, Robert. I've just been chatting away, and it's so easy to drink this stuff, man.
Oh, yeah. And that's, again, I think one of the big things that for us that we really grabbed onto is a lot of people have talked to us that corn didn't have any complexity, that it just produced alcohol. That was all it was good for. And really, when you start looking at these different heirloom corns, when you start looking at some of the even older varietals of yellow corn, there's just so much flavor there. I mean, for me, I really do love some of the Scottish grain whiskeys, but when they hit like that 21, 24-year-old, they really start blossoming and becoming really, really fun, expressive whiskeys. Yeah. With the pot still corn, like high corn stuff, it's way more expressive at a younger age. And that's kind of one thing that we really gravitate to.
Peat's great when it's young.
Mm-hmm.
And it loses a little bit as it gets older.
Oh, yeah.
Peat whiskies. So the peated whiskies, I think they're better. You tend to find 8, 9, 10. I think they're great. They're powerful. There's loads of flavour. I think as they get older, you tend not to see many kind of 20-year-old peated whiskies. I can't think of any to come to mind that is a 20-year-old peat. Yeah, I've got an Arbig here, I think, somewhere.
They lose some of the punchiness of that fun smoke.
21-year-old Arbig.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is why, again, these are great at 10, 8, 9, 10 for the peated whiskies. I know Frank's still around. Frank will be able to tell us a wee bit more of that. We like the funk, oil, and proof are the points. Emily.
I'm with you, Emily.
Who could be a Texan? Somebody could be a Texan. Who's that? Me?
I think it's when you were talking about the smoke wagon. Yeah,
No, he could
he's
be a
got the
Texas.
attitude
He's got
for
that
sure.
cowboy stuff, isn't he?
He got the cowboy boots. He's ready to rock and roll.
Oh, he's wicked, man. Oh, he's a nutter. And it's even when he goes to knows it, he comes across real when you first see him on a picture, he looks really butch and powerful, John Wayne type and all that, But then when you see him in the flesh and you hear him talking away, he's actually he's like a little girl when he knows he's his whiskey. He's like, ooh, he's mesmerizing, man. I love watching him. I might try and get him on one night, man. I need to try and get him. You on, should. Man. I think he'll be fun, man.
He's a ball.
I need to get Jerry to go. Jerry lives in Vegas, didn't he? I need to get him to go down and have a chat with Aaron for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that would be too tough for Jerry.
Yeah, maybe get me some T-shirts as well while he's at it.
See if you can ship it for cheap.
Absolutely. Alan, you must have tried the 25-year-old Ardbeg. How do you like that? I hate to say, Luna, but I haven't tried the 25-year-old Ardbeg. It's just a wee bit out of my price range, man. That's where they start to get silly on money. But yeah, as I say, peats, I'm just starting to really, this year I've had a lot more peat than I normally have. And it's only when I come to change this wall around, Robert, I just forget how much peated. When I keep saying I'm a sherry head and I'm this and I love all the sherry whiskies, and then when I come to change my wall round, it's full of Campbelltown funk and it's full of, Kilkerran heavily peated all over the place, and maybe I just don't appreciate it enough. I think I'm surrounded by peat in a minute. I've got a couple of nice bourbons here as well. I've got a bit of Garrison Brothers.
There you go. That's a great whiskey right there. The Balmoral.
Texas all over it.
Oh yeah. The Balmoral is a fantastic. I might chuck
one of them into the super chat as well. So, love Knob Creek, man. Don't know what it is. It's just that another one is dead easy to drink. But I prefer the Knob Creek rye. I like that rye whiskey in that one. But yeah, wow. Okay. So what's your kind of Scotch then? What are you into in Scotch? Before we tackle Icarus.
For me, I tend to be all over the place with Scotch. For me, again, it's all mood based. Sometimes I just want really nice, kind of easy Highland, but most of the time I'm going to be jumping into Campbelltown, Glengoyne. Some of the heavy shared Glengoyne is right. Again, we were talking about Teapot before you even got on this. I fell in love with that particular whiskey. I think John Glazer over at Compass Box is doing some really fun stuff as well. I actually need to ask you, I've got No Name number 2. I was going to see what you thought of the number 3 if you'd had it yet.
I've not had it. I've got number 2 here, but I've not got number 3 yet.
Let's see. I pick up stuff occasionally from like Barry's. I love independent bottlings. That tends to be more of what I'm going to go after. So, and we get some pretty fun, crazy stuff from Barry's here in the U.S. We get some obviously from Alexander Murray, all sorts of fun stuff. Like one that I've been doing quite a bit is actually just an 8-year-old Glenord, but you can see it's definitely a 4th fill cask.
Oh, it's mama. Yeah, that looks peated.
Yeah, it's an 8-year-old Glenord.
It's peated, that one.
Oh yeah.
Again, there's so many great independent bottlers as well. We've got a rake of them here, man. You've got the Gordon and MacPhail do lots of good stuff.
Yeah, my mom always goes there when she gets one.
Signatory vintage, loads of nice signatories. I think I've got a couple up here. I've got the Old Particular. There's a Glengoyne you've probably not seen before, Robert. Look at that Glengoyne.
What?
How old do you think that is?
I mean, it looks like a 4-year-old Glengoyne. The ones that I've seen.
You ready?
20. Oh my goodness. What?
20-year-old Glengoyne. 50%, 100 proof.
Been on a big kick of Ardbeg lately as well. Uh, yeah, I mean, I have a lot more up at the distillery that I've been drinking more single malt up there than I have been at home. I was thinking at home I actually have a lot more Cavalon than I think I do of any other single malt.
All right. No, Cavalry. Your mum's got all the single malts, isn't she?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Your mum's got all the good ones. Got a nice going 25 up here as well. He's sitting nice. So, Icarus. What are you going to tell us about Icarus, man? What's the story on Icarus?
So
Where did the name come from?
So Icarus actually comes. So our regular corn whiskey, or cast strength corn whiskey, is called Hubris. So that was actually one of the first whiskeys we released. Yeah. It actually got its name because the very first release, I fell in love with the barrel, and I told my brother that we should release it. We should submit it to competitions and just see how it does. And he goes, "No, Robert, that's hubris. Would never do it." Eric, to answer your question really fast, I've been here for more than an hour. I have no idea what he said the entire time, so I'm just winging it. No, so hubris. So I wanted to enter into competitions and to release this barrel. My brother said no, that was hubris, and so I, being the younger brother that I am, went behind his back, printed out a fake label, pasted it onto a bottle, and sent it into competition. And it ended up winning best corn whiskey in the world from San Francisco and from the World Whiskey Awards that year. And so my brother, when we first got the awards thing back, he looked at me because he had no idea that I had done it. It's like, well, I guess that means we're releasing that, huh? So we released that with Hubris. And so we were later that next year, we're kind of lamenting and joking that corn whiskey is really kind of the redheaded stepchild of the whiskey world, which resonates with us quite a bit, being the gingers that we are. Yeah. And we're like, you know what, if it had more respect,
how cool. Mention, you know, this I kept quiet now. Did they mention the ginger thing, man?
Not yet, at least. So we joked that if we treated corn whiskey like Scotch, maybe people would respect it then. So late one night, we were actually in Berkeley, California, with Nancy Fraley, drinking a bunch of her, vintage Armagnacs, and we were joking about that again. And she's like, "Well, let's do it. Let's why'd you keep joking about it, Jonathan? Let's do it." So she busted out a bunch of stuff, and her and my brother sat down and started playing around with adding different. Because again, my favorite thing is Scotch. Again, that's sherry cask, port cask, peated. And so we started playing around with that, and they came up with a blend of corn whiskey that had accents of peat and port to it. So when we got home, we immediately ordered old barrels from Isla and barrels in port cask, and we put corn whiskey in it. We aged it in there, and we started doing blends of those. So that's where Icarus comes from. So the joke is that Hubris.
Which distillery in Isla?
I cannot say, but there's. Let's see I don't know. There's frogs involved is all I can say. So, so the joke for the name is that Hubris got too full of himself, flew too close to the sun, got singed a little bit. So he's smoky now.
Yeah. Icarus. Yeah. I think Icarus flew too close, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Melted his wings and he fell in the ocean.
His wings melted, didn't he? And he died. Was he enjoying flying too much?
Exactly. Same thing with this whiskey. So this one is the most.
This is a bad boy. This is the bad boy of the bunch, mate.
It is. He's the funkiest and craziest one that we do.
I didn't have a clue with this one. Every time I've been in and out today, in and out the shed, having a wee nose, having a wee sip, and it's still, I can't get to grips with this one. Every time I come back to it, it's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing like a peated corn whiskey. So
wow, it's definitely funky.
Yeah.
This is why I thought you were trying to recreate Springbank funk.
In Texas.
In Texas,
it's like a Springbank if it was distilled inside a corn bin.
Wow. How you doing, Hamish? Nice to see you, buddy. All the way up there in Inverness. What's the weather like up there today, mate? Okay, Leo Chav thought he had that 20-year-old Glengoyne, but it's actually a 21-year-old Glengoyne he's got. An old malt cask. Yeah, that's another crazy Glengoyne. I've never seen a Glengoyne anywhere near that colour. Ivan the Torrible's asking you about distribution in Texas.
So yeah, so we do distribute throughout the state, total line specs, lots of independents. We do quite a few single barrels throughout independents throughout the state. We have had, so it used to be far more available, and then as the unfortunate thing that we've run into is in 2020, Harbinger, the 115, our flagship bourbon, at least the flagship high proof one, ended up winning best bourbon in the world from Whiskey Magazine at their World Whiskey Awards. And and Forbes did an article on that as kind of like a judgment in Paris type of analogy, which I think is a little bit blown out of proportion, but I'll take it all day long. And so when that happened, like the popularity of what we were doing just skyrocketed, and we had a really good distribution out to a lot of different states and Texas, and then kind of now don't have nearly enough. So that's why we're doing such a bit this coming year. It took us about a year to secure kind of funding and do all the things to really start working on this expansion. And so we'll be producing about 5 times the amount of whiskey. So the supply line should shore up here in about 3 years. I think Saints Alley, you'll see, will really start. It's available in 10 states right now, and should be about 30 by kind of mid next year. So
is that going to be like a kind of core range, the St. Alley?
There's going to be core range to it, and then
are you going to mess with other things? You're going to try different finishes?
Oh God, yeah. So Saints Alley is going to be just like our blending, our blending line. So we are starting with the bourbons. There's going to be some special edition stuff here at the end of this next year. There are going to be some different, really fun finishes. There's other types of whiskey that we're playing with. We're actually even looking at playing with brandies from all over the world and start playing around with blending those. So it'll be a really fun line of doing a lot of different things. But again, that's kind of the fun. Again, when you only play with your own stuff day after day, it's really fun to kind of now take other stuff and blend it with what you're doing and really play around with it in a lot of different ways. So it keeps life around the distillery extremely interesting. I'll tell you that.
So excuse my ignorance with like small distilleries, but what's is there a core range? Is Harbinger core range? Is that kind of
right? So
your Hubris, Harbinger.
Let me grab the bottles here. So the core range for Ironroot is going to be Harbinger, the 115 and the 90 proof.
Yeah.
So those are going to be core range. And then we also have a kind of a secondary core range that's just in Texas right now. It's Hubris, Icarus, and Promethean. So those are going to be the 3 that are Texas only. And then
Promethean sounds nice, man.
Yeah, Promethean's going to be, it's another bourbon. It's kind of the inverse blend of Harbinger. So Harbinger, as I mentioned, is all that purple corn and bloody butcher corn. Promethean uses a lot more of the flint corn and a lot more of the low rye mash bill, which the flint corn can get real funky and really crazy. So sometimes it's more traditional. Sometimes it's really funky, very mineral heavy. Some really kind of cool stuff can happen with some of those flint corns. So it's a little bit more even a little bit crazier than Harbinger is on its kind of main line. Wow. And so that's kind of our core Ironroot stuff. And then there's kind of, one-off stuff like the tri-barrels that we do twice a year, or
single casks, single barrels and all that stuff. You're doing single barrels?
We do very limited amount of single barrels. I think right now we'll do about 12 to 15 single barrels a year, and that's it. So we very much curate those and have a lot of fun. They're super off profile or just super amazing barrels, one of the two, which is, again, barrels I tend to have the most fun with.
Yeah, nice, cool. Do you do a bottle of your own at the distillery? Do you bottle
my personal bottle? So the distillery only bottlings are going to be like this, the tri-barrel right here.
Okay.
The what we call the solstice edition. So we do it basically in summer and winter solstice editions. Those are distillery only. And then like esoteric going forward will be a distillery only release. And again, so we'll always have something fun going
Sounds
on.
like you've got it all covered.
We try to, and now again, doesn't mean there's small amounts of all these things, but
Yeah.
you know, as we grow, we try to do a lot of fun, different stuff.
Yeah. This year, Texas. Next year, the world. Eh? Yeah. Yeah.
We're working on it.
You feel like Icarus, man. You just take wings and you just fly across that ocean. Them bottles will just fly across.
Again, to me, this is one of the craziest fun whiskeys we do. It's the most difficult one to blend, and generally the blending on this takes about 2 months, just because peat, when you're blending it, it can hide and will pop back up a couple days later. So when you're blending with this particular whiskey, the peat will get very shy right after you put the blend together, and then it'll start popping a few days later. And then obviously with peat too, the more that you taste peat, the less that you register to the kind of smokiness, and you get to like all the other things. And so I don't know, it can be deceptive sometimes.
I remember for this earlier, I got a little bit of peat on the nose, but when I tasted it, that's when I got the peat big time on the taste.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Oh, nice. That would be a great introduction from bourbon to peat.
I really do think it is. It's got the richness of bourbon. It's got that kind of oak profile, the corn.
If you try to transcend somebody from bourbon into peated, maybe heading towards Scottish whiskies or peated Scottish whiskies, that'd be a great place to start that. Wow. What can I say about this, man? This is nice. Wow. Glad I had you on now, Robert. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Wow. So what sort of price is this kicking around? Is this a $60 bottle as well, Chris?
This goes for $65.
Wow, that's cool, man. Good money, that. That's probably about 50 quid to hear that. And honestly, if that's 50 quid, you can't buy... you'll find a tough Scotch to buy for that quality at 50 quid.
I appreciate that.
Oh, it's nice. Don't get me wrong, there is a couple, but you know, it's starting to hit into the good stuff. So where's the expensive stuff coming, Robert? When's the $250 bottle coming? When's that coming?
It's not.
It's not. There must be a plan for that somewhere, man.
No. I think the only expensive bottling that my brother even has on mine isn't actually expensive for the whiskey. We're actually going to do some hand carved like cigar boxes and stuff. So we're going to be doing a cigar blend that has tobacco that's been aged in the barrels that we use to blend the whiskey, and then made into cigars.
Really involved in that.
Oh yeah. So we'll have a whole malt on that side that we're working on. So. Or not malts, bourbon that we're doing on that side. So it's still the conceptual stuff, but that'll be a little bit more expensive just because the handmade cigar box will be a little bit more expensive. But the whiskey is still staying the same price.
What about a single malt Ironroot?
Yeah, the single malt's coming. We've got a couple different things that we've done. We've got one that's kind of a lightly peated single malt. It's a little funkier and some more sulfury sherry casks that are kind of crazy that we got from actually from not Belvini. Where who did Berry Brothers used to own? It's comes in used to be like the Globe style bottle.
I'm sure somebody will tell us in the chat, man.
Yeah, who used to own who did Berry Brothers used to own and then sold off to Edrington?
Oh, would that been Glengarry?
No. Glenn. Jeez. See, I'm sure the chat will catch up with us here in a second. Glen Rothis. There it is. Glen Rothis. Boom.
Glenrothes, yeah.
There it is. So some barrels that we got from them.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
we're
a
making
lot of
some
sulfur,
more.
them, man. They've got lots of sulfur in them.
Oh yeah, so we've got that, but then our like actual standard single malt. We actually, a guy that used to roast coffee in our front parking lot became a malter. He ended up going out to Nevada, was out there, and then he's now currently in Montana. So my brother has him creating some custom malts for us.
Wow.
That are super fruity, super really fun. Again, they've got that malt funk again that I love. Again, when we start talking about Campbelltown, not quite to their extent, but still, it's got some really fun malt funk to it. That's again still probably about 5-ish, 6 years away. It's only a year old right now, but where a lot of Texas single malts are trying to really push them at kind of 3 years. Again, a little bit heavier oak profile. We've gone super used cask, and they're going to be a little bit more traditional, longer term maturation.
Wow, cool. Good night, Luna. Thanks for popping in. Hope you're keeping well over there in Germany. Top shelf Dustin's popped in. How you doing, Dustin? You okay? Well, we got. I started talking in German, man. I think she thinks I can speak German, but I don't know why she thinks I can speak German, man. Unless there must be a few Germans in the chat.
German's half English, right? Half English is German.
It's just the letters the wrong way around, isn't it? It's got the letters in the wrong place.
German, French, and Celtic together.
No, they're multicultural in here tonight, man. You've got Peterhead. I think he's in the Netherlands. You've got I'm sure there's a few dotted around. Luna's obviously in Germany. Gerhard's in Belgium. So there's a few.
There we go. Springbank.
Springbank. What have I missed with Springbank?
Top shelf Dustin just popped a 25-year-old.
He's just showing off, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just showing off, man. He's only popped in to show off. I bet he's not even popped it, man. I bet he's just saying he's popped it.
In and out.
You know, why don't you just do a 25-year-old Lafroig as well while you're at it, man? Maybe even a 30-year-old Lafroig.
I tell you what, though, the Bunnahabhain has been one that's really impressed me lately. As far as the 12 is just such a great, easy drinker.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't know if it's hit the States yet, Robert, right? Funny enough, you brought that up because I had a wee feeling this might come up at some point. Bunnahabhain 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bought 3 bottles on Amazon last week. £87 in total delivered.
What?
3 of them, right?
Oh, 3 bottles for
£29. £29 each.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Right? 3 for 87, and I could sign up to get the same thing every month at the same price. Right?
Good.
Nice. So I snapped a few of these up, and then
do not blame me.
And then this one came out. Bunnahabhain 12. Cask strength. 55.1% ABV. Bunna 12. Right? But it's not the same Bunna 12. They're different. This is much more punchy, and if you're expecting the Bunna 12 and this Bunna 12, then it's not the same. He's posted pics. Oh, he bites all the time, doesn't he? Oh, good hell, man. What's the dictionary? Scotch for Dummies. There's a few discords kicking around. But he can pour a 25, the frig. Which year do you want? Oh, mamma mia. What a life, eh? This is where the shenanigans begin, man. So, Icarus, have I tasted Icarus yet? I think I have been tasting it, but again, colour's great. This seems a wee bit lighter than the Harbinger colour.
It is. It's all used cask maturation, so you're not going to have quite the heavy color that you're going to see with the bourbons.
So long as this barrel.
This particular one, let's
I think this is a 40-month one as well.
Yeah, the youngest was 40. The oldest on this one's 58 months.
Wow. That's an old one for Ironroot, isn't it? 58 months.
It is. So the oldest whiskey we've ever released was the very first tri-barrel that we did. That was a blend of 54-month, 64-month, and 74-month-old bourbons. And that's the oldest stuff. Now, we do have stuff older than that in the warehouse now. We still have barrel one. It's still filled and aging and maturing.
Oh, that's going to be that £250 bottle, isn't it?
No, I think my brother probably drank it all himself. So.
Oh, you're saving that. Barrel one, Harbinger barrel one, man. 250.
Oh,
Start bidding. That'll go straight to secondary, that one. I'm just trying to find. I've got the oldest Cavalan ever made. I've got a sample of the oldest Cavalan. And I think it's an if I remember right, is it a 13-year-old Cavalan? Which is that's an old one for a Cavalan.
Oh yeah, I think most of their stuff's what 4 to 6 for the most part.
Yeah, but I think this is the oldest one. I think it's just short of 13 years old, man. Man, it's lovely. What? Yeah. Icarus. Wow. What do we say? This was $65. This one, yeah. That's good money, man. Buy that all day long if I could get a hold of it.
Yeah. Well, you know a guy.
Yeah, can I buy some off you? You FedEx me some.
I'll help you out. We'll get Jerry.
No, I don't want any free ones. I want you to pay for it.
No, that's fine. Let's make him ship it. Yeah, when I start shipping stuff over, they get the authorities look pretty closely at what I'm doing. So.
Right, yeah, no, I don't want none of these free bottles, man. It's
no.
Integrity's all about the channel's all about integrity, mate. I buy all this stuff myself, so. But yeah, no, it's
no. But we've definitely got some bottles that we can get you.
Okay, cool. I need to text Jerry, see when Jerry's heading down next.
Yeah, exactly. Customs are already waiting for the stamp.
Yeah. I think I've got him in there. I might have get him on the Planner trip. I don't know if you've got this Boona 12 yet in the States. Apparently there's
not the cask that I've seen.
It's sold out super quick. I picked up a Glen Scotia one as well, 12. Both of them came out at the same time. The Glen Scotia 12 and the Bunnahabhain 12. And I think I missed the boat on the Boona. The Boona was like, when I looked to go and buy it, it was sold out. I thought, I missed the boat on that one. But then the Glen Scotia 12 was still available. Picked that up. Loved it. Thought, wow. £75. I thought it was a bit steep for a cast strength Glen Scotia, but it's awesome stuff, man. And then I picked up this Boona. The Boona 12 became back available again. So as you do, you pick them up as well.
Isn't it amazing that all these again, you're talking stuff that was distilled after 2000. We're starting to see some really high quality malts coming back. Same thing with the bourbon side.
It's amazed that places like Glengoyne say that they've got a stock shortage, and then Bunnahabhain can bring out a Bunnahabhain 12 cast strength, and it seems to have no worries. There's lots of it, and I think it seems to be an annual thing as well because it's the 2021 edition, so it looks like it might become an annual thing as well. As long as they keep knocking that Boona 12 out, I don't know how they do it at the money. It's absolutely incredible money. I've got it everywhere, Robert. There's bottles here everywhere, man. And I think
I just finished off mine last week. So
yeah, funny enough, I did a Bunnahabhain one of these with Amazon a couple of months ago. I done a Bunnahabhain Moyne one, which was the peated one. So this was the Bunnahabhain Moyne. But I done the same thing on Amazon. I done a deal, signed up, get one every month. My plan was to cancel that subscription because you get it cheaper when you do the subscription and then just cancel the subscription. But I must have forgot to cancel this subscription because another one turned up yesterday. So it's Amazon do them great deals. I don't think you get those Amazon deals over there, do you?
No shipping in Texas, unfortunately.
Wow. Mamma mia.
Yeah, it's our governor has stated that shipping whiskey to someone's door, shipping spirits to someone's door is akin to ruining society. So it's when society falls apart. Beer and wine, you're fine, though.
Ginger, here's a ginger thing coming up, mate. I don't know if you've spotted it earlier, but I think Emily's having a pop. Yeah, Boona 12, most likely will be annual indeed. Yeah, Peathead and Disappear. Bought the Boona 12 a couple of days ago. Can't wait until the holidays to open it. It's been hearing so much about it. Listen, just get it smashed open, my friend. The holidays have started tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a whiskey friend Ironroot holiday. This might become an annual thing, Robert. What do you think?
There we go.
Make it an annual thing.
I like this idea.
Another excuse for a holiday,
eh? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Maybe next year I'll come visit you in person.
He's on Team Ginger.
Yeah, Dustin Garrison has some stuff that is pretty divisive, especially in the U.S. It can be very divisive. Now, I'd say our stuff versus theirs is very different styles of whiskey, but they sell like hotcakes here in the U.S., which is kind of crazy. Is divisive as their whiskey is.
I watched the video. I watched the video on YouTube. I think it was during the pandemic about Garrison Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, am I right in saying they're on a farm out there on a farm somewhere?
They're out on a giant ranch.
Big ranch, yeah.
Prettiest distillery in the state.
I forgot I'm talking to American, man. It's a ranch, isn't it? So there's a big ranch over there. We call them farms over here, Robert. So, but I watched the video where they were releasing a bottle and there was a queue all the way down the road.
Yeah, when they do the cowboy bourbon or Balmoral even now is very difficult to get your hands on.
There's a queue of cars, just car after car after car backing down the road, queuing up to get this stuff, and they were just popping out to get in the car and driving off again, man. It looked crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the bourbon craze in the U.S. is it's at an all-time craze right now. It is literally insane here right now.
I think it's all spirits, Robert. I think whiskey's exactly the same. I think the amount of new distilleries that we've got popping up, I think traditionally we had about 130. But I think there's planning permission for another 130. You know, these kind of micro distilleries, lots of new ones popping up. English whiskey's on the rise as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's lots of English whiskey distilleries coming up. Just massive and can't keep up with them.
No,
the only thing I find with new distilleries, Robert, is they don't have that history. They need to find, like Arran, where you've got the smugglers on the beach back in 1775, and he's running up in the midst of the night, and he's got a quarter cask on his back, and he jumps into his little rowing boat, and he's rowed across the peninsula across to the mainland, and he's selling his stuff in brothels and all that and everything. The new ones don't seem to have that kind of. I love that history, man. Probably
maybe that's what they should do. Maybe you should convince them to seek out modern day brothels to start selling their whiskey into.
Well, no, I think that's how Glendronach done it. James Allardyce, I think he was struggling for people to buy his whiskey. And he used to take it to the local brothels. And the local brothels, the girls used to sell it to the guys coming into the brothels, man, and it took off.
There you go.
I don't know.
It sounds like a business model right there.
Yeah. Nick into one of them saloons down in Tucson or whatever, and kind of get them girls selling that Harbinger. What have I missed here? Let's see if I'm missing something here. Left the cork off my Boona 12 overnight and it was even better. Wow, okay. Rob and Leela. How you doing, Rob and Leela? Nice to see you again. What a beautiful couple that is, eh? Is she a ginger, Robert?
Is she? I never make any judgments on that. My brother is strawberry blonde, but again,
Oh, right. That's ginger.
I don't know how much that counts. I don't know.
That like that's just the word for light ginger, isn't it?
Yeah. A half ginger, if you will.
Could be worse, man. You could have that kind of iron brew colour. You seen the iron brew?
That's true. I don't have the blue eyes. Pull off the iron brew. Oh yeah.
Let's look what you're looking at. Alan, you could call it a mid-advent sesh. I think you might be talking about our annual thing. Yeah, Robert Leela, yeah. She didn't see whether she's a ginger or not. She said thanks. Only joking, Leela. Yeah, what's Emily saying? Texas ships beer, wine, bullets, just fine. It's whiskey. That's will cause chaos. There'd be some guns in there somewhere. There'd be some guns in there somewhere, isn't there?
All right. They definitely ship guns too. All the fun stuff.
Yeah, I mind when I did a video of I don't know if you've seen it, Robert. I did the Balmaria video. I'm sure it was I did a Texas whiskey anyway. I think it was either a Balcones or a Balmaria, maybe the Garrison brothers. And I popped a little clip in there of John Wayne riding through, Arizona on his horse, and, just to get the mood. The dust was coming up, so it was quite funny.
Have you tried any of the peated Balcones?
I don't know. I think the one I've done a few Balcones. I've done the True Blue. I've done the Cast Strength True Blue. I've done the single malt, which I thought was lovely. The single malt was nice. I think I've done a few of them. I think I've got one here.
I've got a peated single malt that they age.
The rye one, Texas rye.
It's a very, very crazy rye.
Yeah, got the rye. Well, I'm doing okay with it, so it's going down all right. Can I tell you what my first ever bourbon was that I ever tried? Robert, have a guess. What do you think my first ever bourbon was? Ever. And I bought it. Nobody sent me it. I bought it.
Oh, my back. I think I'm back finally. All right. Ooh, that's an old school Elijah Craig right there.
Yeah, I'm saving the rest of it, man. I'm trying not to drink it, man.
What was the proof on that one?
138.8. 69.4.
Yeah. God, you guys got all the super awesome high proof ones. Oh my god. I'm jealous.
You must be able to pick them up over there, man. Come on. Got hazmats and all that over there. If you guys got a hazmat, I see a hazmat Ironroot somewhere.
We have released one hazmat. It was a hazmat single barrel of Hubris that was 141 proof. That was immaculate, that particular whiskey. So occasionally we will let things go up to hazmat. Very rarely do we do that because there's very few barrels that to me really taste really fantastic at that high of a proof. But you do find them, and when you do, it's a different experience, and I absolutely love it.
Look at that, Robert. Look at that. Look at that, man.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Leela. Thank you very much. Looking at that picture, Rob, that Leela, she looked like you. I'm not sure if she's your wife or your daughter. Is she your daughter, Rob? She's lovely, man. Allardyce. I'll talk about Allardyce was smuggling other things under skirts according to legend. So, okay, we won't go there, man. That would they be Ironroot by any chance, would it, Hamish? That is smuggling Ironroot. But yeah, no, I'm very thankful for these drams, Robert. Super stuff, mate. Just wish we could get more of it over here, but means we might have to travel over to America anytime soon. So maybe when I'm planning a trip, maybe I should plot what states I could get Ironroot in. That's how maybe I
can help you out with that.
Yeah. But no, I think some of the lads I'm looking to do something. I think we're going to do maybe some sort of Campbelltown trip early on in the year. Obviously, the regulations permitting in a minute. I think the Whiskey Festival is on the 19th. That up in Glasgow, they've got the Glasgow Whiskey Festival. That's quite a big event. So I think we're pretty much, there's 5 or 6 of us booked up for that. I think we're trying to organise some sort of Campbelltown trip. Pay Springbank and Kilkerran and Glen Scotia a visit. And then maybe later in the year, maybe something in the States. I think there's a couple of us up for heading to the States at some point. So,
ooh, all right. Well, let me know when you head to Campbelltown. I might see what I can do to take off to head over there. So,
so what about you guys? Nothing planned for you heading over here somewhere at some point?
At some point, again, I know at some point we'll be heading over there. Hopefully, we've got this. I mean, obviously, we got some independent bottlings coming out over there, and we generally like when they launch them, like to go over. So I know, like when we did Legation the last time, we came over, and honestly, been a very long time since I've been over to London. So who knows? Maybe for the World Whiskey Awards or something, I'll make my way over. And if I do,
all the action's up north, though. All the action's not in London, man. The whiskey action's not in London.
Oh, I know. No, but it's easy to get to London.
All the whiskey action's up north, man. But yeah, no, just keep us updated, mate. Let us know if you're coming over.
Yeah.
So let me have a wee finish.
I do like Iron Brew.
You like Iron Brew, do you?
Oh,
Iron Brew's like bourbon, man. It's so sweet, man.
It's easy to drink.
Candy sweet.
See, also, bourbon is a cure for a hangover. I don't know if you know this.
No. I was just about to tell you that myself, mate. Listen, you've got somebody who grew up in that part of the world, mate. It's the biggest hangover cure ever. So whenever I'm planning to have a session, and I know I'm going to get messed up, and it's going to be a tough morning, I've got 2 bottles of Iron Brew in the fridge, just chilling. Ice cold, man. So when you get up the next morning, the first thing, don't worry about a breakfast. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about getting bacon and eggs and all that stuff. Just head to that fridge, get a pint glass, a few glasses of ice in it, and just fill it with Iron Brew, man. And I tell you, your hangover's gone in 20 minutes. Then you're ready for your bacon and eggs.
I think my favorite thing that I've heard, and again, this is what I've heard. I don't know if it's true, but supposedly there are 2 countries in the world where Coca-Cola is not the #1 sold soft drink.
Yeah, Glasgow and Scotland's one of them.
It's Scotland with Iron Brew, and then it's Spain with tonic water.
Wow,
apparently,
I knew Scotland was definitely one of them. What is Petehead saying? Smuggling Glengoyne let ladies smuggle bags of whiskey under their skirts from the distillery to Glasgow. Wow, see all that? I love all that smuggling stuff, man. You want to have some Ironroot smuggling stuff? What can we make up with some Ironroot history, man? What's the thing? You know,
I mean, I think it has to do something with redheads smuggling something somewhere.
Was Wyatt Earp a redhead?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be redheaded to smuggle it, though.
Yeah, but was Wyatt Earp a redhead? I'm sure Wyatt Earp was a redhead. To get into that many fights, man, he must have been a redhead. That many gunfights. He must have been a redhead.
Yeah.
That cast strength peated balcones is great. Oloroso wood finish. I'm just catching up on some of them. Ladies and gents, I'm off. Great to listen in, boys. Well done. Thank you very much, Whiskey Wings. Cheers, buddy. Only good Texas stuff I can get has come from Matt from the Crusaders.
Whiskey Crusaders, another YouTube channel. They do some really fun stuff. They do a lot of whiskey, but also like Amaros and crazy liqueurs and stuff. It's really fun.
Need to get invited, Eric. I've not been invited.
Well, I guess I can put a word in, huh? I'll give Daniel a hard time.
Okay. That just gave me an excuse to come over, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I need an excuse, man. What's Duncan's hangover? I got a hangover once drinking with Eric Waite, Whiskey Studies on a live. Well, I've had a hangover after a few lives, Dustin. I think you've been on a couple of with me at the end of it, man. 9 hours later, I think you were still there. Yeah, there's a few bits and bobs. Should be back for a visit before heading over for Campbelltown Festival. Already taking the Manchester boys over a dozen bourbons. Another couple of Ironroots wouldn't hurt. Yeah, there you go.
We work something out.
I think Jerry's going to pay you a visit. Super. No, that's great, man. Wow. Well, it's been wonderful. How you fixed for time, mate? You in a rush? You got time? You want to do a scotch or what?
Yeah, let's have one scotch, and then I will probably have to hit the road here.
Yeah, no worries, mate. You might do me a favour and let me get off early tonight. So I'm coming up for just short of 2 hours, which is a wee bit of a record, Robert. That's a record. But I'm just going to finish this Icarus, mate. And funny, so I've just polished all of them off, mate. So easy they were, man. Yeah.
Again, that's kind of the beauty of corn, is it tends to be very easy drinking. Well, the beauty and negative part of it.
Is it that pot still thing? I think Irish are quite easy to drink as well, man. Wow.
Ooh. What do you want to drink?
Just a quick one, guys. We're organised. You want to pick up?
I'm gonna go see if I can grab a scotch here. 1 second.
No worries, buddy. I'm going to do a wee bit of touting myself out here. Just a couple of things, guys. I've got plenty of this Ironroot stuff left. I'm going to do. See, there's a super chat going along the bottom. Anybody who wants to get it, I know it's tough. You guys, I'm quite happy to ship it to the States. There's 5 real nice. I think he's telling me there's an Icarus here, which is not general release. So there's some nice whiskies here. And I say I'll top it up myself with 5 nice scotches. You can probably even choose the scotches that you want as well. So all you've got to do, guys, dive in, drop a quick super chat and help the channel out, support the channel. Coins, I've only got a handful of coins left. Whiskey Friend 2 ones. If you want to pick up them, just drop me an email. Let me see if I can pop you a link. I have just recently ordered the batch 3 coins, so they should be arriving. I don't think they're going to arrive before Christmas, but if you've already picked up some coins before and you want the same number, just drop me a quick email and I'll reserve your numbers anyway. So other than that, it's pretty cool.
All right.
What you got, mate? What you got?
So on the scotch side, I grabbed Port Ascog, the 110 proof.
PT1.
Oh, yeah.
Port Ascog. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can help you.
Got just a regular long row.
All right.
Belvini Peat Week.
Okay, let's see what I've got here. Let's see if I can find something with one of them. Let's have a look. Sure, I've got something here.
Also, I'm going to give Jerry something else to take over to you. Really fun American single malt is going to be Delbach out of Arizona.
I think he sent me a sample of that, you know.
Yeah, some of their special editions are just out of this world good.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think Drew for Arizona sent me some Delbach. I'm pretty sure it's Drew that sent me it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I never say. Wow, I've got so much good stuff up here as well, man. I'm sure I've got one of those Port Ascog somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Have you tried Wolfburn?
Long time ago at a whiskey festival.
Got a few Wolfburns here as well.
Jerry's asking me if I mentioned anything about the upcoming Apotheosis. So Apotheosis, that line is like the pure Ironroot finished bourbons.
Getting them wicked names, aren't you?
Oh yeah, we do all sorts of crazy.
Somebody's naming them names up, aren't they?
That's my brother. So the very first one we released was an Armagnac finish, but the Apotheosis line it's got a very long finish to it. So it was a 3-year-old bourbon finished for 2 years in an Armagnac cask. The next one is going to be a 3-year-old bourbon that is finished for close to 3 years in a Pinot de Charente cask out of Cognac. And that'll be about March time period when that comes out.
I can't find that Port Ascot. I've got that many samples in front of me there. I can't find it, so I'm going to make do. I'm going to crack open a bottle of Port Charlotte.
There we go. One of those ports.
Oh, got me on the peat. That Icarus has just set me up nice for some peat, man.
Oh yeah.
So what's the plans? What's coming up next?
What's coming up next? So what's coming up next actually is that Apotheosis I just mentioned. It'll probably be the next really cool thing that we do. We've got another hazmat release of Hubris is going to be coming out in like February. And this one is like 143 proof. So it's a
Is it drink
it's a big
like
boy.
143, Robert?
No, not even close.
No.
It drinks probably about 110 is kind of the strength it feels. It's I believe it's a 6-year-old too, which will be really fun.
So what's the oldest Ironroot then? What are you looking at? For 2000? Did you start in 2014?
Mm-hmm. So the oldest whiskeys we have are 7 years old. We've got a number of them that are still that age that are still aging. Again, we try to keep a few barrels back every year to do kind of fun stuff like the barrel releases. I
think you froze.
Nope. My bad.
I think you froze there. You froze there, mate. I think I caught half of that.
Okay. So yeah, the oldest barrels are 7 years old.
Okay.
And then we try to keep it back a few for every year because that's what we make those special tri-barrel releases with. Or we do for like our major anniversaries, we do a whiskey called Icarus. It's a black bottle release.
Wow, here's a good question, man. Alan, how long does it take to get used to peated Scotch whiskey? I've been trying for a year now. Some people seem to just take to it straight away, but I'm getting there. I think
what the saying is that if you take a bottle of peated whiskey and you take a shot out of it every night, by the time you're 3/4 way through the bottle, you'll like it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll try that. Let you know how I get on.
Force yourself. It's what's the condition where you get kidnapped and you fall in love with your kidnapper?
Oh yeah, well, that's some
Stockholm syndrome. There you go. Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, wow.
I feel like that's what peat whiskey is for some people.
You need to get some help, mate. You need some help, man. I think Disappear's going to open. Whiskey Friend maybe open a Glenallachie 14. That bottle, to be fair, that Glenallachie, I picked that up when I was up at the distillery 2 months ago, and I think it's the quickest bottle I've went through so far this year. That Glenallachie 14, it's absolutely awesome. So if you've no popped that, mate, just get that one cracked open because you'll love that. Give it 20 minutes in the glass before you open it up and get diving into it. Is that the same for the Ironroot, Robert? Does it take a bit of time in the glass and then?
I think so. I think
just diving straight in and sending it down the hatch.
When you first open a bottle of our stuff, the corns can be way more present. I think when you give it I know. I like to give it a couple weeks, just having opened the bottle and it open itself up, and it really, a lot of the molasses, a lot of the kind of beautiful kind of sweeter notes of the whiskey start coming out, and the grain kind of sits back a little bit once it's been open for a while.
Yes, Bart, it's a Port Charlotte 10, mate. Oh, I'm going to become a Petehead. Going to get I am a Petehead t-shirt. That'd be one, wouldn't it?
There you go.
I am a Petehead. Petehead. Pete is the new sherry. Is that the one, eh?
Pete is the new sherry.
Yeah, Pete's the new sherry. Adam T, how you doing, buddy? Where you been, man? You've just missed all those beautiful iron roots. I'd take a chance, mate, and just cut yourself off now and just go back and watch the replay in the morning. Let's have a look. Have I tried? Oh, I've tried a couple of Octomores, Gav. You tried Octomore, Robert?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's my mom's favorite.
Oh, wow. That is... Well, it's still young, though, isn't it? It's, what, 5, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5
5 to
years
7
old?
is what I've seen most of the time from them. And Emily is saying that she thinks, or that she thought Pete was like rye, that people love it or hate it. And I think right off the bat, I think that's really true, that there's a lot of those things that people love or hate right off the bat. But as people like go through their whiskey journey or their spirits journey, I think you can come and fall in love with stuff that initially that you weren't big fans of as you grow and as you get accustomed to some flavors and some of the intensity of spirit. So to me, like, I think right off the bat, it's very much people love it or they're just not going to like it at all. But as they really start getting into it after a few years, I think palates evolve, and I think people can really come back into loving those things that they initially didn't like. Now, me,
well,
I think
when it comes to whiskey, I think people nose first, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
I think when they nose maybe a Glenlivet or a Glenfiddich or a Balvenie, they're nice and fruity and floral and sweet and really, really unoffensive, aren't they? And then maybe they might go to a peat one and then they're getting road tar and it's there's a different beast altogether. There's none of that sweet stuff. It's all kind of weird veggie and damp and cooked
craziness.
Meat, all that nutty stuff in it. And I think that's where I think a lot of people kind of go off the tracks first, is when they smell those lovely, sweet, floral, fruity, they tend to head down that road.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the headbangers and the crazy guys who'll head down the Port Charlotte road or the Ardbeg with the cooked meats and the barbecued sauce on those ribs and all that kind of stuff, So
I'll tell you what was crazy is we had every once in a while we'll do a college class where a lot of college students will come and we'll teach them they come from like the chemistry department. We'll teach them about the distillation and beverage alcohol, and we'll sit down and go through kind of all the different styles of whiskey. And I always end with peated. And I will never forget the first time we did it, we had 7 kids that were there for this class, 5 guys and 2 girls. And the moment the 2 girls smelled and tasted the peat, they fell in love with peated whiskey. And they went immediately to the liquor store next door and were buying Lagavulin.
They're what you call crazy chicks, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Were they full of tattoos and goatee beards and all that? Yeah.
No, not at all. Like I think you've never really know when those flavors will trigger someone that they absolutely love them. And to me, that's kind of the really exciting thing. Is like seeing how people respond to different types of whiskey.
Yeah, no, and it's the same when you stick somebody that doesn't drink it, and they're used to, let's say vodkas and gins and all that kind of stuff. And then you maybe sit down with them one night and you try and cajole them into trying. You're thinking, where will I start? What will I do? Will I go peat? Will I not go peat? And I think the general consensus is to go maybe with a Balvenie or something that's really fruity and floral and it's maybe wine-like and all that kind of stuff. But that as soon as you hit that road tar and carbolic soap and, you know, all that kind of
can be a little divisive.
Diesel mechanics overalls and all that kind of wet dog and all that stuff, man. I think that takes a wee bit more. It's a different woman, isn't it? Different guy, different chick, different thing. They're hardcore.
I think it's fun. I don't know. I mean, that's what makes spirits so.
Absolutely.
You get some of these flavors you don't get anywhere else. But even like in the U.S., black licorice is an extremely divisive flavor. Like it's the vast majority of Americans hate black licorice.
Yeah.
And again, you see that a lot on rye. So that's why she's mentioning rye can be very divisive. It's because sometimes rye can go either very dill, which is pickles, which again, it's also divisive in the U.S., but you get that and black licorice together. And you can really see that turns some people off, and some people like that's the flavor they want.
It's the dill they don't like, isn't it? I've watched a lot of guys and they get that dill, they don't. Who's the one that gets a lot of dill in? Where's there a lot of dill? Dickel. Get a lot of dill in Dickel. I've watched lots of Dickel videos and all I hear is dill. That's all, there's plenty of dill. So just catching up here a wee bit behind. Listen, I love whiskey, peated, sherry, bourbon, rye, Irish. You sound like an alcoholic, Adam. I don't like any category. My favourite sherry bottles, but anything from Campbelltown would come close. So yeah, it's he seems easily pleased. You try a small sip thing in the morning before breakfast when you're fresh. It helped my journey on a sip. Okay, so that's there. They've got a conversation going. I think. I know some people put it in a porridge and all that stuff, don't they? That's a you're on your way.
Nothing to
do that, man.
Or into your coffee. Call it Irish coffees in the US.
Oh, I've just had a super chat from the Malt Monk. You already had a super chat discount earlier. Oh yeah, I think I still owe you some money, don't I? I'll send you some money when I come off here. You'll notice the sweet side. I think they're all talking. Can you make a single malt that is peat influenced but not smoky, so that I can feel for just the peat flavors? One of the ones that I got into early days was the Ardbeg Udigal. I thought that was sherry and peat, so it's got a great balance of sherry and peat. So if you want to go, rather than go straight into peat, I'd probably go there. Something that's peated, but it's got some sort of finish with it, sherry or wine.
Have you ever had Berry Brothers and Rudd a while back did an Irish whiskey that they aged in peated casks, and that to me came off more peat flavor, and you didn't get a ton of the smoke with it.
Wow.
But
keeping with the strawberry blonde theme, where is the partition between peat and smoke? Okay. I think the smoke is what I tend to find when I get the smoke. It's more that kind of bonfire, cigar smoke. Whereas I think peat's a wee bit more pungent, isn't it? It's a wee bit more kind of thick and dense, and
that's where you get like the iodine and stuff from.
Yeah, a bit more earthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not talking to a peat expert, by the way, so I'm just giving you a quick kind of. I might need to get a peat expert on next.
Ooh,
expert. I've got a ginger expert on now, so he's into Iron Brew and he's recommended Iron Brew and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so it's gone well. What's Robin Leela saying? Can't get past that first smell of iodine. I hold my nose and find the taste very pleasing. So it's the nose, isn't it? That's what I said earlier. It's that nose thing.
Yeah. It may not be your thing until you get down into it. I think starting off with some of the blends and stuff tend to have it dialed back quite a bit. So if you're looking at something to kind of ease your way in, you may look at some of the blends to help.
Something just slightly smoky. That's where I think the Campbelltowns come in. So they're not fully blown on smoke at Campbelltown. So you've got like a Glen Scotia 15, which has got all those beautiful vanillas and toffees, and there's a little hint of smoke in the back. So that's the difference, I think, between the smoky ones and I think somebody's trying to highlight the difference between smoky ones and peaty ones. I think Campbelltown tend to do a lot of kind of smokier versions, right? And it's nicely integrated in there with bourbon casks and sherry casks. And it's that peated barley. I don't think it's heavily peated. So I'm not too sure what the ppms are on the Springbanks, but I don't think they're heavily, unless you go into the kind of Kilkerran's heavily peated. And again, even with this Kilkerran heavily peated, it's still really, really nice. It's got those beautiful vanilla notes, tropical notes, bananas and all that kind of stuff, coconuts. It's still really, really fruity, but at the same time, it's heavily peated. So that heavily peated is one of your play on words, Robert, isn't it? It can mean anything.
Yeah.
When you go to Optimo, I think you can go to Optimo and that's your stupid ppms, isn't it? But I think this heavily peated, I think there's anything over kind of 50, 60 ppms, I think they can class it as heavily peated, I think.
That's a question for Eric, not for me on that one.
Yeah, no, that'd be one, man. So it's, I don't think I think that's a different, you're right, it's a different question altogether. I don't think this is heavily peated.
You also have the question too of, is the ppm being measured on the grain or on the distillate side? Because even if it's heavily peated, based on how you cut off the still and how you run the still, you can actually lose quite a bit of smoke and end up with something that's not super smoky, even with high peated malts.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe what happens with this. I think it maybe starts off heavily peated, and then somewhere along the line it loses a bit through the distillation. But yeah, no, this is awesome. This is probably one of the best peated whiskies I've had. Kilkerran, heavily peated. Up to batch, I've just had batch 5 delivered as well, so I should have a review coming soon of the batch 5 heavily peated Kilkerran. So I might not get that before. That might come after Christmas. I need to do some Christmas videos now, I think, coming up, I think. Whiskies for Christmas. What's your whiskey? If you're going to treat somebody to a whiskey for Christmas, Robert, what would it be? I think you froze. You froze, mate. I think Robert's froze. Here's a question to all you guys in the chat then. If you're going to treat somebody to... where are we? Let's see if I can catch you. Back, Robert, yeah? I think you're back, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, the internet here has been super stable.
It's because we're talking about peat now and no iron brew. If you had iron brew, you'd be all right. Eric is here too. Shillett, Durham Yankee, and Eric. What a chat. Thank you very much. Oh, they're trying our Big 10. Rob and Leela. Let us know how you got on with that, Rob and Leela. That's a nice one. I think you want to avoid those... if you're starting out, avoid Rathfroig, man. I don't think Rathfroig's the place to start. Is the Kilkerran smoky? Yeah, Kilkerran is smoky, man. The heavily peated one is. And the normal Kilkerrans have got that little hint of smoke in the back. You know, you do like a Kilkerran 12 or what's the other one? Kilkerran 12, Kilkerran 16. They've got, I don't think the Kilkerran 16's not got any smoke, but the Kilkerran 12's got a little bit in there. But it's more vanillas and toffees and lemons and real nice. And I think if I was going to start on peat, that's where I would start as something that's just lightly smoked. A little bit of peat in the background, a little bit of smoke. Oh, that was a pop there. What did you pop there, mate?
Just a long row.
Long row, wowie. Happy days, man.
We were talking about Campbelltown enough. I was like, well, I think I probably should.
Yeah. Well, I did clear the shelves. I cleared the shelves the other day, and I took away most of the Campbell. I had all Campbelltown up here last time, so I've cleared the Campbelltown away. I've brought a few independent bottles out. So I've got a Longmorn here, got a Glen Elgin 20, Longmorn. There's one there. I've got a Macduff. You ever done a Macduff?
I think I've had an independent bottling.
Macduff 1997. Glen Grant 20, Glen Grant 19, Glen Dullan 15. So there's lots of beautiful kind of independent bottles out there. Whereas they don't necessarily do those many kind of core ranges. No relics. Asked for a 10 sherry can. I've got a sample of that 10 sherry to do. That might come up. I'll give you a wee bit of a spoiler, guys. In 2022, I'm going to do a little season. I'm going to do. I don't know if I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to do a peated season. So I'm going to do a whole run of peated whiskies back to back. So I'm going to try once and for all get myself into peat. So there'll be no sherry for the first 2 months, 3 months of the year. So it's going to be peat all the way, I think. So look forward to that. Got a few coming up. But yeah, I've got that Lafroig sherry cask to do. I've got a few nice peated. I've got a peated Arran as well, which is a single cask peated Arran. Lagavulin 16. I don't get the buzz about Lagavulin 16. You a Lagavulin 16 fan, Robert?
Yeah, I think got a couple bottles of it. I know people have been going nuts over the 11 that's come out recently, but I haven't had a chance to really explore a lot of Lagavulin.
Yeah, I've got that here, I think. Guinness.
Yes, the Guinness one.
This bad boy. Offerman.
Oh yeah, the offer. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, doesn't surprise me that it's a Nick Offerman bottling.
But he's done 2 of them now. That's his second one. But I think they've done this one in the Guinness. And the only thing when I did it and I tasted it, which I love Guinness. That's my beer of choice is Guinness. But the only thing that reminded me of this Guinness cask of this, it was really, really creamy. It was just a creamy whiskey, but there was none of those kind of Guinness notes in there. There was none of those kind of that Guinnessy taste.
Mm-hmm.
Just a typical Lagavulin, but it was a wee bit more creamy than a normal Lagavulin, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably a wee bit overpriced again, but you don't know. So Robert, if you were going to buy a whiskey for Christmas to somebody you really wanted to treat for Christmas, what would you buy them for Christmas?
Ooh. Now the question is who this person is, so what I would buy them. If it's my mom, I'm definitely gonna be going into the Scotch realm.
Oh, that's gonna be a black art or something, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be something along the most recent 0.2 or 0.3. She's all about Octomore. My brother, I'd probably be going into cask strength bourbons. He's a big bourbon fiend, and again, he loves all the things, but he really digs high proof bourbon, and so generally
so
probably.
What are you? Have you got a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is going to be always a go-to at our household. E.H. Taylor Barrel Proofs also are going to be something that we're really going to dig into. Again, we generally stay away from just because Pappy Van Winkle, that stuff doesn't really kind of not a whole lot of interest on our end on that one.
Have a look at that one, Robert. You've got Lagavulin 8. Is £38 and 10. That's a supermarket. It's in a supermarket.
Again, the price, you guys. Again, the price for Scotch for you guys just makes me jealous all the way around.
Don't get me wrong, man. We still pay over the odds for some of the ones that we want. We get stiffed. Don't worry, mate. We sometimes get the odd bargain, but generally get stiffed like everybody else does.
I mean, we were talking about again. If it was just like a good friend or boss or something I was wanting to do something really fun for, one of the best buys I've had this year is again that 24-year-old Kirkland the Alexander Murray sherry cask for $60. It's a 24-year-old single malt sherry cask.
Is that Costco that?
So the Kirkland's going to be at Sam's Club.
Okay.
But I mean, you're talking it's first fill sherry too. It's not a super dark. Is it something that's going to like absolutely blow your mind? No, but for $65, Yeah, there's very few sherry casks in the U.S. that you can get at that quality for that price point.
It's the age, innit? You see the age statement and you think, fucking hell, that's no brainer, isn't it?
Hmm.
You know, 24 years.
So Adam,
sometimes you would wonder though, Robert, but you know, wonder that if somebody has sold that 24-year-old whiskey to a supermarket,
just blows my mind.
no, but you think, well, why? Why would they do something like that, man? If that distillery, and I'm not too sure what distillery it is, but was it say it's Highland or Speyside or somewhere like that? Is it
Speyside?
So somewhere in Speyside, it's got a 24-year-old first fill sherry, man. That's crazy money, man.
It's great. I mean, I have to imagine Alexander Murray bought that at a much younger age, and just has these giant contracts with Tesco and Kirkland's and all those different people.
Wow, crazy. Berry Brothers Rudd do a couple of nice. I think they do a sherry one and a peated one. They're about 25, 26 quid. Sometimes you get them on offer at 22. So it's, and they're non-chill filtered and natural colour. So there's lots of good things going on with them. Just see if anybody else has got one in here. Damn, that series could go forever. So maybe I've missed a cut what they're talking about here. We've still got a few. We've still got 27 in, Robert. We've kept in 27 normally. Normally we're up there about 50 odd, mate. I think because it's bourbon tonight, I think half of them have stayed away because it's bourbon. But yeah, there's a lot of good lads in here tonight. So they've all pretty much stayed all the way through. No, Alan is right. Kirkland is Costco.
Yep. Is it Costco?
Costco, that mate. Kirkland.
I know they don't sell it at liquor or at grocery stores in Texas because again our governor is really fun. Adam. So Adam T is asking a question about the difference between us and Balcones. So Balcones has a lot of similar philosophy to what we do. Again, using traditional pot still, using heirloom corns, but just even the way that we age and mature spirits is very differently. And then we're about 2.5 hours from them drive wise. So our climate is actually quite a bit different than Balcones. So we tend to be much lower oak intensity than what Balcones is going to be. And then just even our corn and yeast profile is going to be, again, quite a bit different. Then they tend to be way nuttier, blue corn is super unique flavor profile. Between the sweetness that you get off of it and that nuttiness, again, it tends to be quite a bit different than what we put out. And then again, our French style maturation really, really kind of holds the oak at bay a little bit more than what they're going to do, which is going to be a lot more oak aggressive maturation.
Let's get to the nitty gritty, Robert. Is Ironroot? Well, I think what Adam's asking is Ironroot better than Balcones?
No, jeez. No. And one, I will never say one.
Delete this bit if you want. Don't worry.
Now, I actually interned at Balcones years ago, back when we were first starting. So they're back 2010, 2011. So they're near and dear to my heart. Like again, I was there before they even released their first single malt, which is really fun.
I think Dustin's saying that he can get Balcones easy enough, but he's struggling to get Ironroot.
Yeah, we're a much smaller distillery than they are. Balcones, you're talking, they could produce 20,000 barrels a year. We're right now about 250 to 300 barrels a year, so we're significantly smaller than they are.
Yeah.
Next year, again, we are upping. We're going to produce about 5 times the amount, so we'll be about 1,200 to 1,500 barrels next year. So,
Jeff Mills saying that you've also got the liquor hound effect to it as well.
Yeah, no. Our blending team is again, I put them up against anyone in the world with my brother and Chris together. It is a formidable team of blenders that we've got.
I don't know if you spotted, but I think Dustin's got a gift for you.
Oh.
You were asking earlier about the no-name.
Yeah, actually, so I had a liquor store reach out to me earlier today, which is the reason why I was asking about it. If it is, then I'm going to be picking that up tomorrow. So thanks, Dustin. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you reckon that's the best Scotch of the year so far, so.
Yeah, Eric was mentioning on Garrison. As far as Garrison's another pot still Texas bourbon, but they're out actually in the elements where we're not quite as much, and Balcones is kind of in the city, so they do get a lot more of that local, I guess, shrubbery that gets blown into the air into the fermenters, and so they've got a lot more like almost like sagebrush type characteristic to their whiskey that comes from that kind of rough and tumble aging and being kind of with the elements that they've got.
Emily's spot on as well. Anything with port finished that spells Christmas.
Yes. So, well, one, Icarus actually has port cask in it. The very first thing that we tasted, the port and cognac finished Saints Alley we have, and we do have some other port stuff aging. When that will come out, I don't know. Because again, typically with the Ironroot stuff, when we do barrel finishing for like pure Ironroot, we don't look at that 6 month or anything under a year aging. Typically, we're going to be more like 2 years of maturation, at least in the finishing cask for any of the Ironroot finished stuff. So,
from Ironroot to Balcones to Garrison Brothers, as you move south, the leather, campfire, wood, and smoke flavors increase, forming the distinctive Texas profiles.
I would agree with that. Now, again, that you have base characteristics that are also really different, but when you're talking about Texas profile, the farther south you move, typically the more intense some of those expressions are going to be. One, you're moving into like Garrison traditionally is using like 30-gallon barrels or 25-gallon barrels, which also really impacts where we're using, 63-gallon barrels. So we're much milder, even cask type that we're using.
Wow, there's a blast from the past, man. The whiskey throttle's popped in. How's it going, Daniel? How's Canada doing? Wow. Where you been, mate?
Much cooler up there.
You been in jail or something? Adam T seems to be into his... Where are you, Adam? Where are you based? I had a Balcones cast strength rye, and Jesus, it tasted like straight chocolate.
So yeah, Adam. So the Balcones rye, they use a lot of malted rye and also a lot of roasted rye, roasted malted rye. So again, just like with barley, the heavier the roast that you get on those grains, the more chocolate, the coffee, those type of notes, which is one of the reasons why Balcones rye is so damn unique compared to most other American ryes, is because of that roasted, like the chocolate malted rye that they use in that. Such a unique profile.
Boy, Daniel. Mm-hmm. That bad boy.
No, yeah.
Adam, 100% rye. Oh, sorry, 100 proof rye. Texas rye.
So as far, Adam, you also asked whether we're doing malt stuff. Yes. We're taking a much longer age approach to maturation of our single malt. So again, our stuff's probably going to be closer to 7 years old before we start releasing any of the single malts.
Just to let you know, the shed just stinks of peat everywhere. I've got this whole. I should have covered this up, but it's been sitting there. It's just the whole place is just honking of it. The whiskey friend. Oh, it's Daniel saying it's snowing, man. No snow in Texas, Robert. No.
Yes, we actually. So, in February, the entire state got snowed in and froze and shut down our entire power grid for 4 days. So we were literally trapped with no power or gas or anything for most of the state for about 4 days in February. So we do get snow, especially up here in North Texas. About every other year we'll get snow. But when it hits the entire state, it can be catastrophic. So we don't do very well with snow, is the answer to your question on that one.
You don't do snow tiles. You do snow tiles, yeah?
No, I don't. Most people in Texas have probably never even heard of snow tires or chains or anything.
Okay. So Daniel was at a new distillery in Canada today. It's grand opening this weekend, going to make peated Canadian single malt.
There we go.
First single malt. What is this? What we got here? I had the first single malt from Balcones. Yeah, that was nice, that as well. Texas doesn't do anything in moderation.
No. We tend to go very high proof with most of our whiskeys too. We're not shy when it comes to proof.
Just a quick one on that Highland Part 12. I don't think that Highland Part 12 comes across peaty. It comes as a little light smoke more than it's like a kind of it's that Talisker thing as well. I don't think it's heavily peaty. I don't think it comes across pungently. It's when I look at the Highland Part 12, it's one they call the kind of all-rounder. It's got those kind of sweet sherry influences. It's got those kind of bourbon cask influences, and it has that little bit of smoke in the back, but it's not by any means. That's a good introductory if you were trying to get into smoky, peaty whiskies. Then Highland Part 12 is probably one of them to dive into. It's low proof. It's 40 proof. I think you guys in the States might get it at 43. I think we get it at 40. But yeah, that was one of those kind of, I'd class that maybe as an entry level into smoky, peaty whiskies, but it's got a wee bit of everything in Highland Part 12. I've just done a Highland Part 12 cast strength, which I thought was awesome. But that was the crazy thing with Highland Park. They do, I don't know if you guys do them, Daniel, but Highland Park seem to do specific bottlings for specific countries. So they'll do a Highland Park 12 for Austria, Highland Park 12 for Germany, and it just seems to be exclusives to those markets. Which I found it's a wee bit kind of, but it's Highland Park though, isn't it? They can really do what they want to do. But that was nice. That Highland Park 12 was nice. It was 62.6. I think Bart gave me that sample for that one. He's in tonight. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Whiskey friend, I have studded tyres on my truck right now. Late to the party. Where you been, David? That is late for you, mate. But no worries, mate. I'm sure you'll catch me up on the replay. I have one Balcones in my collection. Called it Rumble Texas Wildflower. Yeah, I think I've seen that. That is that Texas Rumble, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's one of the coolest spirits they've made over the years. Wildflower honey, turbinado sugar, and actually figs is actually what it's made out of. Really unique. The cast strength stuff can be unbelievable. And generally, like right now, the oldest stuff they have in their warehouse is all Rumble. And it's really, really cool when it hits like 6 and 7 years old.
Wow. Okay. Right. I think I might wrap this up, Robert.
All right.
Unless you're up for another 4 hours, but
no.
That's a nice. I don't want to overdo it, overstay my welcome, but no, that's been a nice chat tonight. Quite informative. Some good guys in tonight. But yeah, no, that's pretty cool. What you got planned? What's the plan for the rest of the day? Then is it time for food, and are you back to work?
I've got to finish up some work here, and then my wife's probably going to be wanting me to make dinner tonight, so that's what I'm off to.
Oh, super. So that's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for popping in, buddy. Thanks for the drams. I'm going to ship out some of these to one lucky winner tonight. I'm not too sure that I'll draw that over and maybe draw that on my next live stream. We'll draw that and see where that's going to end up. Hopefully it ends up somewhere here in the UK and hopefully back in the States. But it's happy to go wherever it goes. But other than that, that's pretty much. Thank you very much, Robert. All good for Ironroot. Hopefully onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
Here, what about an Ironroot with an iron brew cask? What's the chances?
Hey, you send over some iron brew syrup and I'll do it. Make an iron brew brandy. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, if you want to hang on in the back, Robert, if you've got time to hang on, I'll cancel this off and I'll have a quick chat before you get off me. Is that all right? Yeah.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you very much. Big round of applause, guys, for Robert. Well done, mate. Let me get this off and I'll wrap this up. Well, thank you very much, guys. That was a nice chat there, all about Ironroot. So we've found lots of interesting stuff. Hopefully it's going to hit different parts of the world anytime soon. So hopefully, if you've missed this, guys, if you've watched it on Facebook and you wanted to catch up on the, I can't see any chat from Facebook, so I'm going to maybe go back tomorrow, have a wee look at that. Any chats that was in there, I'll catch up with that. But yeah, if you've just popped in, I know it's some of you have popped in and we're just about to get off. Can always go and catch us on the replay. Don't forget, guys, if you've not given me the thumbs up yet, man, just, you know, give us the thumbs up. Give us the ginger vote. Robert's there, man, so we want that kind of ginger vote in there. There was a few gingers in. No, thank you very much. That's pretty much from me, and couple of wee videos coming up over just before Christmas, and I'm going to take a wee break, and then, as I say, I'm going to do a, I can't believe I'm saying it, I'm going to go on a peat run. So I'm going to do a kind of, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 peated whiskies back to back. Going to start doing, guys, going to bring back the whiskey battles, so there may be a couple of peated battles in there. There may be there's lots of battles coming forward in 2022. I think that's where the channel is going to go. Rather than we just do the odd whiskey here and there, I'm going to pitch whiskies against other whiskies. So that may be Ironroot against Balcones, maybe. We'll see what happens there. So see who comes up on top. I know Robert wouldn't commit to who was on top there, but we'll try our best. But other than that, guys, yeah, it's a short one tonight. David, I'm kind of getting off. Letting you have an early night tonight, my friend. You can catch me tomorrow on the replay. But other than that, guys, 2 hours, 41 minutes it is. That seems a nice, sensible stream tonight. We had 5, 6 fantastic whiskies. Just finishing off on this Port Charlotte. So other than that, folks, that's wonderful. Hope to catch you all soon. I'm going to try and do a few more of these guests, guys. I've got a few more lined up in the new year, so hopefully that might take a wee bit of tact rather than me just get pissed every night. So, but yeah, no, it's been a cracking night. Thank you very much. And as always, I'm Alan. I'm the whiskey friend. And as always, pleasures in the sharing. I'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers now. Bye-bye.